moment, only on TSN.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Nice to meet you where you been. I could show you incredible things. Magic, madness, heaven, sin. Saw you there.
All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app. Your home smart speaker up on TSN 2. Brian Hayes, Frankie Corrado. Love is in the air, Frankie.
Is it ever, man?
Love is in the air.
It's fall time. There's pumpkin spice, and there's love in the air.
There is some pumpkin spice.
Right.
Yeah, it's got that kind of vibe. All of a sudden, it's like we skipped August because it was so hot a week or two ago. And now it's 17, 18, rains every day. Yeah, we just skipped August.
It's okay. We're getting into
fine.
like our. I was getting dressed for the show today, and I've had this sweater for a couple of weeks now. I'm like,
Break it
wearing my
out.
New sweater.
First day of
Feels like
school.
Fall. Let's go.
First day of school. Yeah, it's. I thought the same thing. I brought the hoodie. I'm like, I'm morphing into a completely different element now.
You know what's coming out soon? Sweats.
Yes, big
Sweats
time.
are happening
Big time.
in the not so distant future.
Yeah, it's a great point. Like I got some blazers coming soon. I got a new suit en route. I'm excited for that. It's going to be an exciting time of year, and love is in the air because Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are officially engaged, which I think is a smart play for Kelce to, if you're going to do this, you got to do it before the season starts, right? Like, because if your wheels fall off, I think he's got to be a little bit concerned about that.
Yeah.
Like, ever since they've been together, they go to the Super Bowl every single year. He's won a couple of Super Bowls. Last year, the wheels fell off in the Super Bowl. Like this, if I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Like, is this Kelce saying it's over for me? Like I'm launching into a different stage of life.
Yeah, this is his pension plan.
This is the plan.
He's locked into someone. Who tweeted it out? Was it Ravel tweeted out that like Taylor Swift's net worth is 8 times that of Travis Kelce's? Like this guy, Of course it's smart of him. He's locked in forever now, or at least you would think.
Well, and that's
who knows?
That's the question. But good for them. Congratulations. That's great. But what happens if, this is a sign that like his football days are probably numbered anyway. I don't think he's going to play a lot beyond this year anyway, if he plays at all. This could be a retirement tour. But, guys have an element of confidence and bravado. We all do. But, if your girl's used to seeing you be a superstar, an all-pro type guy that wins all the time, and you're concerned that maybe this is a year where the Broncos are going to catch you in the division, the Chargers, you got Pete Carroll down in Vegas, maybe your wheels. Yeah, you've been trying all summer to get back to prime, but you just don't know if you could do it. Might not be the worst idea.
No.
Like, let's get a ring on that. We're committed. We love each other. And, hey, if I can't play anymore, it doesn't matter, right?
No, exactly.
Like, if I stink and I'm awful, it's all good.
You're going on world tours and you're hanging out with her. But if you were one of those people that didn't want to see Taylor Swift at the NFL games, I think this just kicked it up a notch.
You think she's at every single Chiefs game now?
It's not even that. It's the amount of talk that's going to be around Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift now. And yes, she's going to be at games for sure. But now it's all about planning the wedding. So it's all going to be about, like, what are the next steps for Kelce and Taylor Swift as they plan whatever lavish wedding they're going to have. Like, I think the beast is going to grow more now that they're engaged. It's not Kelce and Taylor Swift fatigue anymore because they've been together for a few years. It's old news. It's like, they're engaged now.
Right, new chapter.
What does that mean? We're
New
opening up a new chapter. What's on the horizon for these two? Does she play the Super Bowl halftime show?
I just don't ever see her playing the halftime show.
This could be the year.
What would possibly be the benefit for Taylor Swift to play that?
I'll tell you right now.
Beneath her.
This is why. Chiefs go to the Super Bowl. Taylor Swift plays the halftime show, and Chiefs win the Super Bowl. And he walks off into the sunset with his girl around.
How about
his
this?
arms.
Macho Man, Miss Elizabeth, they get married at the Super Bowl.
Come on.
That's what I want to see.
Get the script.
Because there's no the greatest wedding in the history of sports entertainment is the Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth in the ring. Nothing can top that. I think that'd be classy. I like that idea. Where's the Super Bowl this year? Is it in L.A., I think? Might be in L.A. Okay. Let's it's in San Francisco. Beautiful. The Bay Area.
Yeah.
Lovely city.
Beautiful night.
Love is in the air.
Yeah.
Let's have a wedding halftime show. She plays the halftime. He comes out. They have the wedding just like Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth during, I think that was a WrestleMania. Maybe it wasn't. And let's just allow them to kind of walk off into the sunset.
If they won and she played the halftime show, how quickly after the owner and Kelce does Taylor Swift get the Vince Lombardi? Like, is she up there with the fellas? Is
Be an
she,
interesting proposition.
Like, front and center?
Like, you'd think Mahomes would be pretty close to the front, right? Owner, I think Andy Reid, Mahomes, Kelce, maybe Chris Jones.
She gets it before Rashee Rice.
Yeah, I think so. Before Spags? Like if Spags, maybe before Spags.
Yes.
Before the defensive coordinator.
It's right after. It's like Kelce and Swift are like the combo getting the Vince Lombardi.
The reason I'm laughing at that and the fact that these guys just told me the Randy Savage, Miss Elizabeth wedding was at the 91 SummerSlam. So that was a legitimate thing that happened at a pay-per-view, and that is a legitimate Google search happening behind the scenes. If you haven't seen it, it's heart-wrenching. It's a beautiful moment.
Thing, right?
It's a beautiful moment to
Everyone's
see
all dolled up.
the Macho Man
Thousands
and
of
Miss
people
Elizabeth
watching.
getting married at SummerSlam
At
in
some
91.
point in the show, Joe from the Bridge will have viz of that. I
Yes.
just know he will.
Find it, 'cause
he's searching for it right now.
I'm pretty sure the Macho Man was in his like standard loud garb with the glasses and the cowboy hat and the Slim Jim outfit. And yet I think Miss Elizabeth was in a legitimate like gown.
Yeah.
You know, like in a wedding dress. And I'm pretty sure it was like legit. Like there was like a pastor up there and everything. And
It's good. That's good.
yeah, it was a great
good
moment.
Television.
It was a beautiful moment.
Did you see the headline today that said podcast host gets engaged to recent guest? I thought
That's
that
pretty
was
good.
Pretty clever.
That's pretty good. We need something like that to happen for our show because it's such great promotion.
Right.
That the Kelce brothers have now launched into
His wrestling, his marriage is happening.
Look how beautiful.
Look at this.
Miss Elizabeth
Come
looks
on.
so beautiful. Look at the Macho Man. Look at that hat. Get that hat. I need that hat. Find that hat, Doogie. It has to be available somewhere online.
You guys should do
for auction.
Every week. Do like OverDrive host of the week between you, and Noodles.
Yeah.
And the winner gets that hat and those shades.
Look at the glasses. Look at how classy the Macho Man looks. Like he looks like $1 million. Miss Elizabeth looks great. Macho Man looks like a billionaire.
Yeah, he's done up big.
He
time.
looks so beautiful there. Look at the little ring boy in the background. It's official. This is what has to happen at the Super Bowl. I need to see it. Travis Kelce and
Dubs in the air. Taylor Swift music, the old stuff.
I think they'd both be up for that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. You start looking towards futures, man. I don't know about Kansas City. Like today is a big day on FanDuel. Obviously, it is Futures Day. You're going to have your own futures that you're going to reveal later this afternoon for the hockey world. We'll get to that. We have a couple of different kind of pick your poison futures in the hockey world. We'll get to our best bets, which will feature my Super Bowl pick and a couple of other win totals that I like moving forward. But Kansas City, by all accounts, had a great camp. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's accounted for. But you go to 3 straight Super Bowls, at some point, you got to think the wheels are going to fall off a little bit. I'm not convinced Travis Kelce can turn back the clock. Like I know he's in better shape maybe than he was last year, and he wants to go out with a bang, and he's a great, great player. But I'm not convinced that's going to happen. I don't know if they have the offensive weapons there. The defense has been so stout for so long. Obviously, Steve Spagnuolo's probably the best defensive coordinator in the game right now. You have very quality players on both sides of the ball, but they won every close game last year. Every game. I think they went 10-0 in one-score games, which is a remarkable feat and a testament to their championship pedigree and the culture that they have there. I just don't believe you can replicate that. And when you've had the target on you for so long, there are ebbs and flows. And I think that division is better this year. I think Denver's good. I think the Chargers should still be pretty good. I think Vegas will be better. Like Vegas is curious with Pete Carroll now, and you got Tom Brady, who's pretty heavily invested and pretty heavily involved. Yeah. I think at some point they're going to turn the corner. I'm not waiting for it to happen this year, but I think at some point they're going to turn the corner. So Kansas City, it's been a formality. Just hand them the division, hand them the 1 seed, generally speaking, hand them a spot in the Super Bowl.
I know.
I'm not convinced it's going to happen this year.
They were living in a division where the Broncos were, I don't know if you want to call it like underachieving, but they were just there was nothing happening offensively for that group, especially when Russell Wilson was there. And the Chargers do what the Chargers do, right? Like they know how to lose ball games, and that's always been evident for them.
Yep.
And the Raiders just haven't really been relevant. When it comes to being competitive in that division within those group of teams. The thing about the Chiefs, and you talk about those one-score games, I think it goes one of two ways. It's like a law of averages that balances out. And you say, you know what, you are bound to lose a few, which is probably true. But there's also like the theory that there's just guys that know how to win games and know how to do it in crunch time and know how to get the big score, get the big third down. And Mahomes, he has like a tendency to do that. And that's always going to follow that team where I think if you're playing them, it's a little bit in your head. You're like, these guys just know how to do it. And it's going to take us, I think, a couple years before you could say they don't have the magic pixie dust anymore and it's not happening.
Right.
Like, I think there's an element of like, if the Chargers are at Arrowhead and they're playing them and it's a tight game, the Chargers would probably be thinking, like, we're the team that's going to lose this based on what's happened here recently. And that's tough. Like, that's tough to get over if you're the opposition.
It is. And, there's two different things that can happen for a dynasty to come to an end, or a team that has just been, like, strictly dominant for so long. They either fall apart. It's either internal, and I'm not sure that's going to happen, like, to an extreme level where they fall apart. Of course, injuries can happen. You can't predict that. That can apply to anybody. But, at some point, Andy Reid may retire, right? Kelce's going to retire. The weapons aren't going to be there. They're going to miss on a draft year or two, and they're just going to have to transition. But if Mahomes is there for the next 10 years, and I presume he will be, even if they dip for a year or two, at some point I would expect they'd come back up. Again, New England set a standard that is just absurd and probably unfair to apply to anybody else, what happened there with Brady and Belichick for 20 years. But if it's not an internal, I guess, letdown, or kind of you fall apart based on what you're doing right or wrong, it's generally someone else comes and gets you and passes you.
Yeah.
And you look at, in the history of all these different leagues, at some point, someone else came up and said, you're not doing this anymore, right? Like, you look in the NHL in the late 70s, it was the Habs. Like, they dominated. And then the Islanders said, no, you're not doing this anymore, you're out. And then Edmonton showed up and said, no, you're not doing this anymore, you're out. And it just, that's a hockey example from 40 years ago.
Well,
but the point being recently, is someone comes and says, you're not doing this anymore. We've been building. We're hungrier than you. You look at the NHL, like Florida's got that right now. Who's going to come and say, you're not doing that anymore?
All we could do was talk about Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Right? Like, who's going to knock off Tampa Bay? And sure enough, it was not far down the road. It was Florida. But even on an individual level, which I think a lot of this comes down to, right? It comes down to the individuals to bring hockey into it. Sidney Crosby was the number one best player in the world every single year. Did we talk about other players? Sure, but he was number one. Connor McDavid came in. Connor McDavid, 2 years later, best player in the world. Sidney Crosby's still a very good player, but I guess how you translate that, like, Patrick Mahomes it went Brady, call it into Mahomes, and now is there another quarterback that takes that step and says, you know what? Is it Lamar who says, we're ready, and we're on the precipice of doing this thing, now we're starting our little run? Or is it Josh Allen in Buffalo, where he's obviously very capable, but the team just hasn't been able to really get over the hump? Like, those are the two that I kind of look at in the AFC and say they have the opportunity to do it based on who's at the quarterback position and what their teams are and the way they're built.
Absolutely. And, you look at Major League Baseball, I guess it's been the Dodgers, who've kind of owned that now the last few years, and certainly the last decade they've been like uber competitive. Now that's in the National League. In the American League, it's been Houston. For a decade, Houston has been consistently a playoff team. They seem to go to the championship series every single year, and they're in a position to possibly do that again this year. But you look at the Blue Jays within this division, the Yankees have kind of owned it here. And last night, like, that's just a classic 2025 Blue Jays win. Where Scherzer, he's given up home runs. He gave up 2 again last night. Like, that's what he's prone to do. But he's now, I think he's won 3 games in a row. That was his 12th start, which I think is even more significant. We were talking about this yesterday, that you're going to have ebbs and flows. And he was kind of chugging along last night. Then he got hit. It's okay. The bats showed up. They put 10 runs on the board. And obviously they found a way to win. And I like their position to do so again tonight with Bassett on the mound at home. He's phenomenal at home. You got a scenario there where Scherzer, I said before the season started, if you can get 15 starts out of him, you'd be happy. 15 starts in a guy that's healthy in October, that's where he's trending towards being. I mean, again, it's not going to be perfect every outing, but you find a way to win. You go out there, you throw strikes, which he did last night. He looks good, feels good, 12 starts. There's no reason to believe he won't get to 15 or 16 by the end of the year and be healthy come the playoffs. And if so, he's going to be one of the guys that gets the ball in the first 2 or 3 games of the playoffs.
And just like win the games you're supposed to win, right? Like you play against Minnesota. They traded everyone they possibly could at the trade deadline. So make sure that, you don't let what happened in Pittsburgh happen where you're dropping 2 out of 3 against a team that, really has no business beating you. And the Jays, listen, man, we know what it's like for the Jays as far as signing players in the offseason. It's hard. There comes a certain baggage with some of the players that end up signing here. And Max Scherzer has had injuries and is old, but here he is, right? And this you just want to extract every last bit of Max Scherzer you possibly can. And now the same goes with Shane Bieber, where you take a risk on a guy and he makes his debut and he was dealing. And you're like, okay, man, like this is a good situation that they've put themselves in.
Yep.
And you just win the winnables now. Like win the ones you're supposed to win. And the Yankees, they seem to keep getting in their own way. So that's good news for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean, Boston and New York, they won last night, but it's irrelevant what they do if the Jays just keep plugging along. Like that's the beauty of such a long season and a buffer that you've built up. You got a 5-game lead, 5.5 on the Yankees. You got 30 games to go. You take care of your own business. You win 2 out of 3 the rest of the way. You're going to run away with the division. And at this point, I'm curious where the market's going here in terms of transitioning from looking behind you to securing a top 2 seed in the American League so you can avoid the wild card altogether. Like that's really where the focus has got to be now. Like if you have confidence in this team, confidence in the bats. Again, they produced a ton of runs last night. And that helps Scherzer. That helps anyone that's on the mound. They put 4 on the board in the first inning. They're up 5-0 after the second. You allow your pitcher to breathe. He gets hit up, fine. Yeah. So be it. We'll go to the bullpen. Other guys will come in. Nathan Lucas had a huge hit last night. Boom, next guy up. Let's keep rolling. And that's the luxury of having depth, but also having unique stories. And Scherzer and Bieber are the perfect example of that. Like if we played the old jump in a time machine and go back a year from now, when it was so desperate this time last year, like they were so bad, so painful to watch. There was a complete lack of entertainment value. And the prospects of them turning things around seemed very far-fetched. At this point last year, it was more about what happens with Schneider and Atkins and Shapiro and what are they going to do?
Vladdy contract.
Vladdy, exactly. Like there was a lot of uncertainty. Now you're 5 games up on the AL East at the end of August, and you've got Max Scherzer and Shane Bieber pitching for you. And both of whom look healthy and both of whom look like they're capable of giving you some flashbacks of Cy Young stuff.
And they're way deeper than I think any of us would have thought they would have been, because it's guys that were not as productive as they should have been last year who are productive this year. And yeah, it's always your big guys that got to lead the way. But, when you're getting contributions like lower in the lineup where you don't really care if it's the 7, 8, 9 hitters coming up to start an inning, because you're like, those guys can get on base just the same way Bichette can get on base these days. Like that's it's everything kind of went well for them after a season where everything went wrong for them. And maybe the truth is the Jays are somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Who cares? You'll take them exactly the way they are, because you got to live with the bad seasons the same way you get to enjoy the good seasons.
That's right.
Ride the wave while it's going the way it is, because you just don't know how many times it's all going to come together the way it is.
That's what's kind of crazy about a day like today, where we're talking about futures and FanDuel's, offering up all these different deals and all these different futures, and a lot of it is obviously revolving around the NFL, is that there's shocks every single year. Even within the market, forget trying to be objective and talking about, do you think Cincinnati will do this or do you think Houston will do that? Within this city, a large majority of people, myself included, did not see them chasing 92, 93, 94 wins,
right,
winning the division and possibly having the best record in the American League. Like at no point did that ever cross my mind. And the same thing's going to happen in the NFL, where there's going to be a team like Vegas who makes the playoffs. And then you're going to look back and say, oh, yeah, I guess they got Pete Carroll and Genty had a great season and they got some weapons. Oh, yeah, okay, I guess. I could see that now. but in the moment as you project, and, unfortunately, it can go the opposite way, where the team that had a really positive year last year that kind of came out of nowhere, and you think, well, now we've made it, and now it's about taking that next step. Actually, that might not happen.
You want the NHL example?
You might go the other way.
The NHL example of that is the Vancouver Canucks.
Yes, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, the stars aligned, man. Everything was going in for them. And I think MJ and like a bunch of people were warning us, like, guys, it's going in way too much for them. They are not generating this much. At some point, it's going to come crashing down. Credit to them. Like, they won a round in the playoffs. They lost to Edmonton. Young goalie played well. The following season, everything that went right went wrong for them. And they missed the playoffs. So what do you look at this year? You're like, okay, they're not as good as they were 2 years ago. They're certainly not as bad as they were last year. So where does that put them? Like, probably fighting for a playoff spot, realistically, like a wild card spot.
Yeah.
But maybe they are a division, I don't know, a top 3 in their division team. But anyways, that's sports, man. Injuries happen. Players don't follow up seasons the way they did. Like, maybe a guy who had a really good rookie season is going to have a sophomore slump. Wouldn't be the first guy that ever happens to.
Happens all the time. And, as you project what could happen here with the Blue Jays, like, they still have to play 30 more games. And you want to peak at the end of next month. You don't want to just get to the dance and then it fall apart and say, well, we had a blast in June and July was fun. And, like, there's the heavy lifting is still yet to happen. Yet, the way the rotation currently sets up and the way the bats and the way they've played defense recently, outside of the bullpen, everything else, is uber positive right now. And even Vladdy returned last night, had a big hit late in the game last night, and George Springer having fun in left field.
Dude, if this season was not going well, we'd be talking about Bo Bichette and his future.
Yes,
that would be the number one thing we'd be asking every single person about. But that gets swept so far under the rug because winning games is all fans really care about. Like, if the team is winning and it's a fun environment down at the ballpark and you're tracking them when they're on the road because they're winning big games, it's like you'll figure the rest out later.
Well, it allows you to also, if you want Bo to stick around, which I think the majority of Blue Jay fans want, not everyone. Everyone's got their own viewpoint on every player and the way teams should be built and maybe where money should be allocated in the future. But winning allows you to envision it being a much easier conclusion, and a much easier negotiation, for both sides. Doesn't have to be difficult.
What's the sell?
Yeah.
The sell is we're a really good team and
you're a part of it.
We need you to be a part of it.
Yeah, we just won a lot of ball games. Look what happened this year. You've been here the whole time. You've been a part of it. Let's figure this out.
You're
and
a
yes,
core
it's
piece.
business.
If we don't have you, all of a sudden, now we're trying to find you, and that we want to pay for you. Like, we're willing to do this.
This is what every executive always says. I'd rather have all the information and know and then be willing to pay the appropriate amount as opposed to gambling on whatever the prospective number might be.
And then having to do 2 physicals to clear a guy because he's got some kind of issues that he's been carrying with him for years.
Yeah, exactly. And, they're both pulling their weight. Bo's been great this year, and the Jays, obviously, as a team, have been great. Keegan Matheson coming up just after 5 o'clock from the Dome ahead of Game 2 tonight. Jays Twins, again, Chris Bassett on the mound. So we'll catch up with Keegan in just over half an hour. We've got some futures we're going to get to today, courtesy of FanDuel and Frankie Corrado. Frankie FanDuel is coming up with his NHL futures. We'll get to that in about an hour. Confirm and deny this hour. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Austin trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
Oh, I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, so confirm or deny coming up here momentarily. I'm going to adjust quickly on the fly because you threw out the idea that Taylor Swift, again, congrats to the Swift Kelce crew.
Call him the Swift.
Is it Taylor Kelce? Do you think she'll be Taylor Kelce officially?
What
or
if
not?
What if it's
Think it'll be Travis Swift? I think it's a coin flip. I think it could go either way here. So they got engaged. There you go. Who knows when the wedding's going to happen? But I guess when Taylor was on their podcast, maybe she was intimating or dropping hints at the idea of playing the halftime show at the Super Bowl, which is in San Francisco. Amanda tweeting in to the OverDrive account saying Swifties are saying after the podcast that the mention of the number 47 many times. Levi Stadium was the 47th stop on the Eras Tour. Yeah. She mentioned sourdough, but only 60% of the time. And the mascot on the 60th Super Bowl is apparently sourdough? I don't know. But there's some big conspiracy theory or some sort of, in-depth investigation based on what was said or what wasn't said during that podcast that might indicate that Taylor Swift is going to play the halftime show.
Are you aware of this whole thing that she does where she just drops like a clue or something and then like the Swifties go nuts for it?
But is she just trolling her own
fan
be like
base? There's an exclusive album that's coming out that's dropping that they can get. Like my wife will tell me about it and I naturally don't really listen to it, unfortunately. But yeah, this is a thing. But the 47 thing.
That seems a little bit too
the 47 thing
heavy. How do you drop 47 so many times? Hint, hint. And if you're the NFL, you're up for anything. You'll do anything to have her play the halftime show.
Anything to get Taylor Swift
anything.
Play the halftime show. You think she cares that she's got to pay for it?
Oh,
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the problem with her committing to the halftime show. You can't guarantee Kansas City's going to be in it. If you're if you're going to do it, you have to commit to it. It cannot be tied to whether or not the Chiefs are playing.
If you talk to certain conspiracy theorists, you could commit to Kansas City being in the Super Bowl.
I'll tell you what, if she says I'm playing the halftime show, all eyes are going to be on Kansas City.
Yes.
Every flag that gets thrown, every flag that doesn't get thrown.
No kidding. You're not joking, man.
Everything.
Legit.
That's an interesting spot.
Yeah.
Interesting little spot there.
The script jokes become more and more loud.
Completely over the top. And they'd be doing it to themselves. That's okay. I guess that's a roughing the passer. If Taylor's playing the halftime show and you really want one team to be playing
Here's what they need to do. They need to have, I don't know if they could ever pull this off. Just say, we have a halftime show planned. We're not going to tell you who it is. If the Chiefs win, it's Taylor Swift. If they don't, it's like someone else no one cares about.
That'd be tough, man.
You could never pull that off.
No, I don't think you can pull that off.
Never do it.
There's just too much of a commitment. There's too much money involved. Isn't it the Pepsi halftime show or Apple? Those companies are paying billions of dollars for that.
Yeah.
And looking for some sort of a commitment. So I'm not holding my breath.
So
confirm or deny. Yeah. I'm denying that Taylor Swift plays the halftime show.
I'm going to confirm it.
Yeah?
I'm going to confirm it.
Okay.
There we go.
Why not? Go for it.
All right.
All right. Confirm or deny. Anthony Santander will take playoff at bats for the Blue Jays.
Dude, I'm going to deny that. Why do you need to, I don't know. Why do you need to force feed him into the lineup when you have all these guys that are playing great? They already don't have enough at-bats for everyone who's played well to get them to this point. So, yeah, I get it. Guy signed a contract. He's obviously a good player, but he hasn't played. He just hasn't been a factor. So the guys that earned it and the guys that got you there, I think those are the guys you're going to have to go with because that's part of, the whole juju around this team being who they are.
Right. This is a difficult one because of the amount of money and the amount of commitment to this player, which I know in the fantasy world you want to look past. It's something that is considered by management and moreover considered by ownership. You paid this guy almost $100 million. this is why you paid him, to help you in the biggest moments. But to your point, that logic goes against the idea that you need to peak at the right time. How can he possibly peak if he hasn't been playing all year?
Right.
Like, how is he going to be in a position where he's going to feel great about any at-bat in the biggest moments compared to Nathan Lucas or compared to, Ernie Clement or whoever it's going to be? Yes, Addison Barger. Ty France now, who's starting to contribute for this team ever since you acquired him. And he's an everyday ball player who's been in the game for a long time. You got to take one of those guys out and put in a flyer just because you paid him that kind of money. I'm not sure that is something that I don't think that makes sense strategically.
I don't think he commands that.
No, that's another point. If Vladdy's a different story.
Yes.
Yeah, Santander, you got to look at him and say, dude, we just paid you for a year of rehabbing, and it sucks. That's sports. It happens. It's a gamble. Whenever you give someone money, especially guaranteed money in pro sports, they get hurt. And he's been hurt. And prior to being hurt, he was terrible. I'm going to deny it as well. I'm going to deny it because maybe I'm being naive here. I'm going to put faith in the idea that they're going to stick with hot bats and hot hands, and they're going to do what's right for the team as opposed to what's right for the spreadsheet, or the bean counter. And furthermore, I'm not convinced he's going to be back.
Right.
Yes, he's facing some high-velocity, pitching machine at bats right now. It's been a long time.
Also, who says that he steps in and all of a sudden is like just great and turns it back to when he was hitting his best?
Or doesn't renege the injury again?
No.
Maybe he goes down to Buffalo for a week and gets hurt again.
Yeah.
There's too many balls up in the air right now with Santander. It would be a really cool kind of Hollywood type story if he did somehow return and gave you a big at bat at some point, hit a big home run in a big moment. But that just seems too pie in the sky right now.
There would have to be other
2
guys
months ago, I'd have a completely different answer. A month ago, I might. It's almost September, and he's still not available to the team.
Yeah, we're wearing sweaters now.
Yes, exactly. We're breaking out sweaters. Confirm or deny, Max Scherzer will be a Blue Jay next season.
I'll confirm it based on if he plays. Like, if he plays again, everything's gone pretty well here, right? Like, he's maintained his health, even though there was a little bit of worry earlier in the season. He must like being around this group. How could you not like being around a group that wins ball games and by all accounts is like a great environment around the clubhouse right now? So he's got those two things going for him. So if he's going to play again, I think this would be the spot for him to do it. I'll confirm it.
I'm going to deny it because I just feel like these type of plays are always a one-off play. You're gambling on both sides. Like Scherzer, if this keeps up, he's giving them 12 starts. Let's say he stays healthy the rest of the way. That's going to be 15, 16 starts and playoff starts. That's worth the money. It's a lot of money. But it's worth the money because of who he is and how he's played. He's pitched extremely well over the last month, and you presume he's going to be ready for the moment in the playoffs. It's not going to be too big for him. But the idea that you're going to go back to the well at 42 when he's not going to take less money now, and there actually might be more suitors for him this time because last year his arm, it just had fallen off.
Right.
Like by the time he showed up at camp, it was like fingernails and wrists and elbows. And remember, he was talking about I thought it was over before it even started. The way things went, he pulls himself after, what was it? Not even 2 innings, like 2 or 3 innings, his first start of the year, and he's like, "I'm done, can't do it. I got to go see a specialist." If he ends up giving them, 10, 12 straight starts and pitches well in the playoffs and goes, "I'm still good and I can play," someone else is going to pay him money.
There's a Texas Rangers or a New York Mets.
There's someone, the Mets have already been down the Scherzer road, but maybe, they got so much money.
Yeah.
There's someone else is going to say, we'll give you $17 million to just do exactly what you just did.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that's smart business.
Sometimes don't mess with happy.
Exactly.
Though, right? This is what you know now, and you're like, I don't know. Like, why at 42 do you need to go see what it's like somewhere else when a pretty cohesive group?
It's worked out for him. They've treated him well. They've treated him with respect, which he'll get everywhere. He's Max Scherzer.
How did it work for Kawhi when he left?
I hear you.
Different
story. But Kawhi was in a different stage of his career.
Well, for sure. But it didn't exactly go well. We didn't hear from Kawhi ever after that.
I would look at it more. The reason I would deny it is more from a Blue Jay angle. Like, this feels like a catch and release. You give it a shot. Hope you catch lightning in a bottle. They appear to be doing it right now. Been uber positive for a month and a half. Give us another month and a half. we'll shake your hand. Thanks for everything. Here's $15 million we've paid you.
Yeah.
We're going to take this down a different road. And they're going to have to make that decision in the future with what they do with other veterans that are going to need contracts. What they do with Bassett, what they do with Gosman in the future. Do you keep Eric Lauer around? There's going to be a lot of decisions to be made. Confirm or deny, Micah Parsons will play in at least 15 games this season for the Dallas Cowboys.
I still am going to maintain, I'm going to confirm this. I'm going to maintain my position that he's going to be a Cowboy and it's going to get done. And this is just, I don't know. This is just the weird, dumb way that stuff gets done in Jerryland. And I don't understand it. Like maybe the average fan can't really understand it, but I think there comes a point where Jerry Jones is just going to look at it and say, here it is. It's the number, it's the offer. Let's go and play football.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Micah Parsons is going to handle that based on everything that he said and how this whole thing has dragged on. But I think at some point that number is going to be written on a piece of paper in front of him, and he'll have to make that decision. And I think it comes before week 1.
Yeah, I'm going to confirm it as well for the same reasons. Everything is smoothed out once the money is in play, right? It's ugly right now, and everyone hates each other, and both sides think that they're being greedy or being silly, or it's a circus because of what you're doing as opposed to what I'm doing. Once that guaranteed money is in front of him. Once he's making, whatever it is, $40 million a year guaranteed, and that's what he's going to get. Whatever's right there with T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett. I think it'll be just below it, but real close to it. Maybe right at that number. Jones is going to give it to him because he always does. He always capitulates once the circus is over. Like they're still in preseason mode.
Yeah.
And, we were talking about it yesterday. I think opening night, next Thursday night, 9 days from now, it's Dallas Philly, the biggest stage in pro sports, opening night of the NFL. I think Dallas has a chance to get absolutely demolished in that game.
100%.
So how do you distract everyone from that? You get the deal done.
Yeah.
You get the deal done either right before kickoff, possibly right after, and you say, who cares if we just got smoked? We didn't have Parsons.
Yeah.
Or, hey, yeah, we got smoked, but Mike had just got his money, just got signed. We were distracted, didn't have the camp we wanted. Now it's all good once we get that Philly game out of the way. You can build it however way
you want it. Jerry Jones
exactly
is the closest thing we have to a KHL owner. He really is. Like KHL owners, what they do is they get the money, they put it in the high-interest savings account in Russia, and once it accumulates enough interest, they say, now I'll pay you, even though you didn't get paid for 3 months. This is like he's doing that with Micah Parsons.
Sure.
No, not about the money. It's just like, I need to rev up the engine. I need to get the headlines.
I need more headlines out of this.
I need to be front and center. And then, we're a week before the season. There's your money.
Because both sides know if they're gonna continue to work together, and I think they will, that he's going to get paid, and he's going to get paid at a very high level. Like we all know what the barometers are. We know where this is going. All right, confirm or deny. One of Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson will win the MVP.
One of Allen or Jackson?
One of Josh Allen or Lamar. The two that were fighting for it last year.
I mean,
Josh ended up winning. Lamar was right.
I'll confirm this. Now, normally, if you were just going to say one of those guys, I would say, well, I'd rather take the field. But having two guys that are two of the most dominant quarterbacks in the NFL, it feels like that's it would be reasonable to think that they would be the MVP. Also, based on the teams that they have, those are going to be, two teams that basically come out of their divisions. The Bills for sure. I would think the Ravens are coming out of that division as well. So, listen, it would be hard to build a case for too many other guys past those two.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Burrow's, you got to look at quarterbacks. Yeah. Like Saquon Barkley didn't win the MVP last year, and look at the season he had.
2 years ago, McCaffrey didn't win, and he was getting a touchdown guaranteed every game.
Exactly. So it doesn't happen with wide receivers anymore. It doesn't happen with running backs anymore. Defensive players, we haven't seen that since Lawrence Taylor, I think, back in the late 80s. So it's going to be a quarterback. And if it's going to be a quarterback, it's likely going to be one of the four guys we talk about every day. So it's one of these two, or Mahomes, or Burrow.
And I don't know if, is Burrow not just going to get mauled?
That's the thing. I'm not
line in front of him.
I'm not high on Cincinnati.
Yeah,
they spent all their money on four guys.
Yeah,
and their line stinks. Their defense has not been overly improved. Everything broke their way last year offensively. Everything. Burrow and Chase were unbelievable. Higgins, unbelievable. I'm not sure it's going to even be as good as it was last year offensively. Everything went their way. So I'm gonna confirm this as well. I'm doubling down on Josh Allen winning it again. I'm all in on Allen, the Bills, everything that they're doing right now. Last year in that stadium, it feels right. Feels like this is the time to at least make the Super Bowl. And they got a soft schedule. They got a fairly easy division. I think the Dolphins and Jets are going to stink. We'll see what New England is. Like, they might cruise to the division.
Yeah. They probably will. They're probably going to cruise to the
They should. I'm predicting they would, and that's not a hot take.
Their season starts in the playoffs. Like, that's when...
Generally, yes.
Yeah, that's when everyone's going to be, okay, what are the decisions that are made with the ball? Like, defensively, they're going to get the stops. Is the coach going to make the right decisions as well? I think that's probably the biggest question that Bills fans are going to be asking.
Yeah. And I think from an MVP standpoint, if you go into the season believing it's, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Mahomes, and Mahomes still has to be a part of the conversation. Yeah. Like, who would be fifth? Is it Goff? Is it Purdy? Jaden Daniels, possibly?
Stafford.
Stafford, if he can stay healthy. Yeah. I think Baker Mayfield's going to have a big year. Did not say Herbert. Herbert lost his left tackle, though. That concerns me. You see, he went out on some date with a, I don't know the woman. She's
something Beer, Madison Beer.
Yeah, I don't know if she's an Instagram model or I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn.
She's one of those people that's famous, but I don't
have a clue what she does.
Yeah,
exactly. I knew her name. I forgot her name as I just brought up the story, but I read it last night. I'm like, okay, I've heard of her. I know who she is. I have no idea what she does.
JP says she's a singer. I couldn't name one song.
JP, Doogie, get on the mic.
So she's a singer.
Start singing one of her songs.
I couldn't, boys. I just know she's a singer.
Madison Beer is a singer.
She is a singer.
I had no idea.
40 million Instagram followers.
Well, see, that's
40
what
million
I'm familiar
Instagram
with.
Followers doesn't mean you're a talented singer.
Right. Is it exactly?
That means you're good at posting Instagrams.
Is it like she's got legit? Anyway, look more into it. But the reason I bring that up is I guess he went on a date with her. That's what TMZ's saying. And he had a leg sleeve on during the date.
Yeah, on his right leg.
Why are you wearing a leg sleeve when you're not playing sports?
Because he didn't want to have inflammation in his right knee. No, but that's what I saw, and I'm like,
really?
That's interesting.
Like date night, hey, I'll pick you up at 7. We'll go watch whatever movie's out. By the way, I'm wearing my sleeve out on my leg.
And he was holding a board game like a pizza. Did you see that?
Oh, so they were out. They were playing at Jonas and Masters. They were playing like a trivia night, like a board game night, snakes and ladders somewhere.
It's I don't know. Looks like a board game. There it is. Joe from the Bridge has it. Is that not a board game?
Yeah, I guess that looks like Scrabble. But look at this cat. He's got the sleeve on his leg. I don't know. I've never seen that out in public.
Yeah,
I've seen it. Obviously the field of play, in the gym, whatever. You're walking around a facility.
That's not a first date. That's why.
Well, yeah.
No one's wearing the leg sleeve on date number 1.
No, I would think that goes for both parties. She's got the Roots track pants going. They look very comfortable.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe that's next. Kelce and Swift, followed by Herbert and Beer.
Herbert and Beer.
Yeah, Madison Beer. Okay, well, let's hit a break. We'll come back. You got to play one of her songs. And we'll continue confirm or deny.
Guaranteed. Confirm or deny. You and I
I've never heard. I guarantee I've never heard this song.
I'll confirm.
I'll guarantee I've never heard anything she's ever produced.
Yeah.
All right, I got an Austin Matthews confirm or deny and a Maple Leaf confirm or deny.
All right.
So it is fall now.
Yeah.
We're officially declaring that. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. Never heard of this. Never heard this song, Madison Beer.
Zero plays on my Spotify.
0 plays, but apparently a lot of plays on Spotify. I'm sure on Apple Music, everything. Maybe she's playing the halftime show. Ever thought of that? Taylor Swift? Yeah, maybe the Chargers.
Maybe this year the halftime show is predicated on which team gets in. That's the girlfriend.
I like that. Both in the same division. Whoever wins the AFC West, Chargers or Chiefs, Madison Beer. Is it beer or beers?
I think Madison Beer.
Madison Beer or Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give the people what they want.
Give them what they want. All right. Confirm or deny Austin Matthews will score at least 50 goals and have at least 100 points this season.
My friend, I'm going to deny that.
Yes?
I'm going to deny it. I'm going to say that Austin Matthews gets 48 goals and 90-something points.
Okay.
That's where I'm at. And you know what? I think that's a very good year, especially considering you don't have Mitch Marner for the first time really in your career, and you're healthy. Presumably, you're healthy. No one's he doesn't
That's
have
the biggest wild
It doesn't
card.
always have to be 55, 60 goals. It's great if he does, but he's such a two-way force. I think he's still going to be productive this year, even without Marner. Just needs to be healthy.
Yeah, I'm going to confirm it. I am talking myself into, not that I have to, into this being the biggest platform year of his career. We talked about it yesterday, where he ranks on certain lists, and Marner not being there, and how he performed in the biggest games down the stretch, and the injuries, and he's got to own all that. It's his life, it's his career, it's his reputation, it's his resume. He played the way he played last year, but he's still on the right side of 30. He's going into his 10th season. He's still going to play a ton. He's going to play in every situation. He yo-yos throughout his career. One good year, one great year, one good year, one great year, and it's all relative. His good year would be the greatest year of 99% of players' careers. But I think he's going to come out like a rocket. Again, presuming health, which is obviously something you can't predict, and it's on him to prove to everyone he's A-OK come day one of camp. But Marner's a big part of it, but there's still other really quality players here. And I still think they're a good team, a deep team, a playoff team.
Yes.
And you look at Ovechkin, he has just consistently done this his whole career, like 20 years of scoring all these goals. And I think Matthews is capable of doing the same thing. You know, I don't know if he's going to hit 900 for his career. Find that probably far-fetched. But in year 10, he's going to drop off to the point where it's like, okay, now it's a trend. He's no longer the best goal scorer in the world. I'm not convinced that's the case.
Alex Ovechkin had a year where he had like 32 goals or something, and it was a long time ago. And my point is, he scored a lot of goals after that.
Yes.
Like, there was a moment in time, what is it, maybe 10 years ago? People were like, it might be it for Ovi. Hey, he had it. Like, at some point, he was going to break down, and not the case, man. Like, the guy kept scoring goals. So, listen. The thing, though, the question mark on health is getting bigger as time goes on, right? Like, if this happened 5 years ago, we would have been, if he's healthy, but he'll be healthy. Now it's like, no. If he's healthy, and he has to be healthy.
Yeah, he has to prove that he is healthy.
It's becoming a bigger question mark.
And how do you prove it? You play differently than you did last year. You're much more dogged. You're much more involved. Your shot has more velocity. You're coming through the middle of the ice with vigor.
Yes.
You know, like you can feel it. You could feel it was different last year.
Yeah.
He needs to show that it's going to be different again this year in a positive swing. Hour 2 coming up. Keegan Matheson from the Dome. Jays, Twins tonight. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Brian Hayes, Frankie Corrado. A lot of Taylor Swift today. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce engaged. Big moment.
This is going to keep like all the TMZ tabloid type places. They're going to be printing money on this thing.
Yeah.
Taylor was spotted in London looking at venues or looking at flowers or, what dress is she going to have?
That's a good prop bet. Where's the wedding take place? Arrowhead? Arrowhead.
Dude,
I wanted
the Super Bowl. Sell out Arrowhead and do it.
That would be so money. Yeah, and they're going to try to avoid the public and all that, which, of course, they're entitled to their privacy, but I want to see it at Arrowhead.
Go Arrowhead.
Yeah. I already said I want to see kind of like a Macho Man, Miss Elizabeth, SummerSlam 91 kind of marriage and wedding. I want to see that. And I think the only way to make that happen is at Arrowhead.
Yeah. Andy Reid has to be like on the altar with Travis Kelce.
100%.
In a white suit with his mustache and a hat.
Definitely.
And bring back the old, what's it called? Not the fishbowl that he had, but the face guard from COVID back in the day when that thing was fogging up on him on the sideline.
The face mask.
Bring back that thing.
Yes. Have him right there, ring bearer in that face mask.
Ring bearer.
50th yard line.
Here comes
Arrowhead.
Reader. Yeah.
Has to happen. But yeah, I would think, I don't know, maybe somewhere exotic or maybe New York or something like that. He's from Cleveland. Something tells me they won't be
in Cleveland.
Living in Cleveland.
No, they'll do it nice. New York.
Yeah.
Somewhere maybe California, like on the water.
Okay.
Cliff overlooking the ocean.
You'd go down that road?
Hawaii.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that.
Oh, we'll see. I'm sure we can bet on it somehow. Futures on FanDuel. Where are they going to get married? Are they going to get married? Like I'm hoping for it. I'm pulling for them. That would be amazing. But it's a very public engagement.
Dude, my wife and I were sitting around the other day and we were like, let's watch one of these trashy reality TV shows, these dating shows. So we put on one called The Perfect Match or Perfect Match, something like that. And once the initial like shock factor of, wow, these people are all lunatics kind of wears off, you get into watching these things and they're so bad. They're in these amazing exotic places, but they're the worst things you've ever seen. And you're like, I just want to see lunatics just kind of be lunatics on the screen. But once you're 2 episodes in,
it's too much.
It's just
too much lunacy. At some point, you just gotta. Yeah, it's cringy. You can't do it.
Yeah.
All right, Keegan Matheson coming up here in a moment. I believe Keegan was at the Oasis concert last night. Hopefully, the crowd was better than the first night. We were talking about it yesterday.
Why? The crowd wasn't good?
Evidently. Well, because it gets compared to the European crowds, and they're all lunatics over there. It's all soccer stuff, and they do the chants and all that kind of stuff. We don't do chants over here.
So who was saying that it was sleepy?
I just saw people online that were there that were like, oh, in my section it wasn't great, and compared to Manchester and all that kind of stuff. And
dude, people
looked great last night.
But can't people just watch the concert?
Yeah, have a great time.
Why do they need to scream for 3 hours? Can they I came to see Oasis. Watching Oasis.
Right.
Do I need to yell for 3 hours?
Yeah, exactly.
To enjoy the show?
Why is that? How is that fun?
Yeah.
Like, how is that entertaining whatsoever when I'm paying them to entertain me and sing?
Actually, I would be more pissed if the person next to me is screaming in my ear. I'm like, I want to hear them sing it.
Right.
I don't need you singing.
I don't need you doing your chant, to Champagne Supernova. Just sit there and sway, and you can sing along to the lyrics, but I don't need a side chant that proves that you're such a super fan.
Everyone was at that concert. Hey, I don't know if you were scrolling Instagram.
I have not been to that stadium yet. Like with Coldplay going through and now Oasis going through, it does seem like almost everyone I know has stepped foot at that place, and I have not. And I have no reason to go there now. I don't think there's any other big concerts coming that I'm aware of.
Taylor Swift wedding. When the Taylor Swift wedding comes to Toronto, that'd be a
good prop.
And we'll go check it out.
Up at Rogers Stadium.
I was going to call it out at Downsview.
At Downsview Park.
Just Downsview.
Yeah.
You call it the Dome. We'll call it Downsview.
Downsview Park. I like that.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, here's Keegan Matheson of MLB.com joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Did you have fun last night, Keegan?
Some might say a little too much, fellas. Feeling fresh.
I
Feeling
like
good.
that.
Happy
Some
to be
might
here.
say. Some might say. Look at you, eh? All right. All right. Good to catch up with you. I'm sure you had one eye on what was going on last night down at the park. And Max Scherzer, gives up a couple of home runs. He got hit a little bit, but he looks good to me up there. I mean, I think that's his third straight win in 12 starts now as a Blue Jay. And I remember talking about this with you back prior to the season starting, saying I think the Jays would take 15 starts if they could guarantee it and be healthy into the playoffs, and that's kind of what he's trending towards doing.
It's working, man. Last night, we'll call it half an eye on the game. There were lots of Blue Jays fans there who did a great job of updating me on what was happening in my job while I was in the beer line, which was great. So we were a little up to date on it, but Scherzer, now that I had the chance to watch through it in the morning, man, this is what the Blue Jays dreamed of all along. And it's cost a bit of an awkward path to get here, guys, but at this point, he's got a full tank for the playoffs. And if Max Scherzer had been pitching all season, we're probably talking about whether or not he has that. Does he have his best stuff still? He's going to have his absolute max and fastball, his best slider in October. And that's the dream scenario. The way the Blue Jays got here was not a dream scenario. We spent months talking about his thumb, but it's working, man. And right now, he's in that conversation, I think, still with that Shane Bieber tier, maybe the number 2 starter, number 3 in the postseason. And if he wins a playoff game, my God, that's one hell of a deal for 1 year.
All right, what's your mini Jerry's here? Jerry's percentages that Max Scherzer is a Blue Jay next season.
Ooh, give me 30%. Okay. Give me a 1/3-ish odds, because at this stage of Max Scherzer's career, I would ask you guys, what's changed since last year? Last year, he was kind of taking a chance on the Blue Jays in the winter. They were projected to win, 78, 79 games. This was not supposed to happen. But he likes Toronto. He liked the money, of course. And the Jays are still going to have money. And he wanted a shot to win. He's not 31. He's 41. And you've only got so many cracks at this left. So if it's worked in Toronto, if it's worked with Pete Walker, the pitching coach, you like being around Kevin Gausman. We'll see what happens with Shane Bieber, this coaching staff. If you're happy here and you're winning and you're getting paid, makes a lot of sense. And the Jays will need at least another starter, a real starter in free agency next year, not just a depth guy. And winning can convince you to do a lot of things. If they go on a playoff run here, there's going to be a lot of reasons to run it back, even at 41 going on 42.
Is it safe to say that, the depth, when it comes to the hitting continues to provide for this team? Is that surprising that that's still the case at this point in the summer? Or, given the way things kind of went throughout the first half of the season and then some, this is right on par for what you expected compared to what they had been doing as far as the depth hitting goes?
Honestly, guys, this continues to surprise me. And not because I doubt the players and these depth players, kind of like Ernie Clement's a great example, George Springer, his bounce-back year. But when this happens, opposing pitchers are always going to adjust. And that's why these early hot streaks tend to fizzle out in a season, over 162. But the Blue Jays seem to be doing a really great job of staying one step ahead of that and counterpunching when they need to, making another adjustment when they need to. Springer, I think, again, guys, is just the ultimate example of this. I cannot say enough about how impressed I am by his season. I didn't think it was coming. I thought we were going to see the opposite. I thought we might be having conversations about his roster spot, his day-to-day job on this team. Complete opposite. He's been spectacular. But these role players coming up, guys, even Addison Barger is an example of that. He wasn't on the opening day roster. Now he's a key contributor. So they're winning that adjustments game, which is not the exciting part of baseball, those adjustments, pitcher matchups, etc. But it's working, man. And you need those in the postseason, because every team that wins a World Series, there's going to be an Ed Sprague. There's going to be that guy who's on the fringe of starting. He's not your superstar, but he gets the big hit. And the Jays have a lot of options. They've got a lot of guys we could be talking about, not just in October, but if it all goes right, for a lot of years.
With Keegan Matheson, MLB.com, Jays Twins tonight. Yeah, you look at Springer and him playing left field last night, which is something he's done a few times this year, had never done prior to this year. And he caught that fly ball last night, and he's laughing, and everyone's kind of joking around with him. But it seemed to be a possibility of what could happen down the stretch here and into the playoffs, like the flexibility of Springer when he arrived. Obviously, he was a center fielder. Then he played predominantly right field. This year, he's played a lot of DH. But do you see him as a guy that could end up actually playing playoff games, possibly in left field?
I think so, guys, and that's been a bit of a plan along the way, saving their bullets and keeping George Springer fresh so that on October 6th and October 21st, whatever it is, if you have a good DH that can help you max out the lineup, then you can have George Springer in the field.
Mm-hmm.
If Anthony Santander returns, that could easily take care of that with Santander DHing. I'm still in the kind of believe it when I see it camp. We'll see. There's a long way to go there. But if the Blue Jays can max out their lineup a bit, George Springer makes a ton of sense there. And that's something they're doing a better job of this year. Last year was very defense-focused. How can they be the single best defensive team on the planet every single night and then build the lineup? This year is a little more focused on offense. I like it. I think it's the right move. I think it's overdue. And Springer is another example of that. So a little flexibility. And, yeah, he's 35, but come on, that's not 70. He's a great athlete, an incredible athlete. He can handle it every day. I think he'll be okay there.
You brought up Anthony Santander and said, you'll believe it when you see it. I mean, outside of, I guess, a bunch of injuries to depth players, what would you need to see in order for him to be hitting come playoff time? Like, what would that path have to look like for him?
I think I'd really need to see some actual performance in minor league games. And the one wrinkle in all of this, I think the AAA Buffalo Bisons, their season ends September 21 or 22, right in there. It doesn't go all the way up to the end of the month. So he would need to get into those games in the first week or two of September. So the clock is really ticking on that. But if Santander, guys, hypothetically, let's work with this. If he goes into a minor league rehab assignment and he's not really putting up numbers, it's an awkward conversation. Is he in a groove yet? Are you still going to put a guy shaking off rust into a lineup chasing the playoffs where every game matters? You don't have time to get right. You do not have patience. But if he gets into those games, he's launching a few home runs, you see the power, well then, fantastic. You try to find some matchups for him. I think you can be comfortable DHing him. But as tough as this is to say about an established veteran who earned every dollar of that contract, at this point of the year, I'm going to want to see some performance in the minor leagues to make you comfortable. Otherwise, it's a real risky bet, and I do not want to be the guy making that bet.
With Keegan Matheson, Jays Twins tonight. So Alejandro Kirk hits another home run last night, and he'll be behind the plate tonight. And I think, he has gotten his flowers this year, deserved all of them. He's had a phenomenal season, might be their team MVP. Talk about internal improvement. He was a big part of it, considering the way he played the last couple of years. But the fact that Heineman, this guy's hitting 320. I had to look it up today because I was curious, and I knew his stats have been great. He has a 2.0 wins above replacement. Kirk has a 2.1. It's kind of amazing how, again, if you want to encapsulate why everything is broken their way, and credit to the front office because they've committed to these guys, but they have the best 1-2 punch going right now statistically. I remember when Heineman hit his home run second or third series of the year. I remember everyone was laughing and they couldn't believe it. He's only hit 3 on the year, but still for him, that's like Judge hitting 50 or 60. It's kind of amazing how behind the plate this year, Keegan, they feel incredibly comfortable every single game. And they've been healthy, and you can commit to them, and they feel great about that position when there's been a lot of turnover and a lot of uncertainty over the last 2 or 3 years based on who is the right fit, who should have been traded, who should have been cut, who should get the time. And, that position in particular in 2025 has been absolutely lights out.
And of all positions to have a strength at, catcher is such an important one. I always compare it to the quarterback in the NFL. If you don't have one, you're probably toast, and there aren't enough good ones. A lot of backup catchers in the big leagues have terrible offensive numbers. They can just catch, they can frame, they can control the running game. There are not enough MLB caliber backup catchers. And Heineman's been fantastic. Alejandro Kirk is legitimate MVP candidate for the Blue Jays this year. Just a spectacular season. And we're going back a year or two, guys, to when they had Gabriel Moreno, who was one of the top prospects in all of baseball. They had Danny Jansen when he was hitting for power. And it was a big decision. Like, who are they going to go with? How are they going to spread out this wealth of talent that no other team has? And making this bet on Alejandro Kirk, that's not an easy bet to make when you line these guys up and look at them. And Kirk has been one of this organization's biggest successes, period, like the last decade. He was signed for $30,000 at a scouting event where he wasn't even the guy the Blue Jays were watching. This was never a top prospect. He was never expected or supposed to be anything close to what he's been. But the right people have believed in him. The right people have pushed for him. And it's resulted in one of the most unique players in Major League Baseball, and an incredible starting catcher. And that extension they did with Kirk before the season looks like one of the best deals in the big leagues right now. Like, dollar for dollar, that is great business.
Mm-hmm. Well, and, you talk about Alejandro Kirk kind of coming up through the pipeline here for the Blue Jays in a year where everything seems to be going right for them. Farm team rankings come out on ESPN today, and there's the Blue Jays ranked at number 12. And you look at it and say, okay, like they've got good veteran players. They've got core pieces locked up. They're leading the AL East. They're going to be a playoff team, and they still have a really good prospect pipeline. Like, is that, I don't know, how significant is that they're, in the top 12, when it comes to their farm team or their farm team system?
And this is after they traded Cal Steven, who we had ranked number 5 in their system, Kendry Rojas, number 6, and Jaron Watts-Brown, who was number 10. So 3 of their top 10 prospects get traded, and they're still making a jump like this, which is nuts. That's telling you that if those prospects had stayed, they'd be comfortably in the top 10. And this is where sustainable winning comes from. Everyone says sustainable winning. Most of the time it's fluff. Most of the time it's impossible. But if you have a good farm system next to spending money, that's how you keep winning. That's what the Dodgers do. Not enough people talk about the Dodgers' ability to develop players and draft them and sign them. But if the Blue Jays can do this alongside the money they're spending, that's the sweet spot, man. That's where the magic happens. Because every time you develop someone like, let's say, Addison Barger or Alejandro Kirk, when you develop them by yourself, not only are you getting a good, really good MLB player, suddenly the $15 million you were about to spend on a third baseman, cool, you spend it somewhere else now. You go get a good pitcher. You go find Max Scherzer on a one-year deal and help a playoff run. It makes everything work. This farm system has been one of the best stories of this season. It's overdue. And, my guys, even myself, I can't believe that we're just saying all these good things about the Blue Jays this year. Normally it's been the farm system's down, injuries, elbow surgery after elbow surgery in the Blue Jays system. It's all come together all at once, really top to bottom. And that's how you sustain this stuff year to year.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's, I guess, the practice that we've been through the last couple of years would suggest that, you got to pump your brakes a little bit on what 26 could look like because it's so unpredictable. Because last year, these were just facts, according to all of these different, profiles and these different scouting systems and scouting rankings, they had a bottom 10 payroll. And they were a bottom 10 team, wins and losses. Those are facts. They had a top 10 payroll. I said that 50,000 times on TSN last year. Top 10 payroll, bottom 10 team, bottom 10 farm system.
That was your motto.
That was my.
You had it on a T-shirt.
I patented that, but it was factual. But now it's top 10 payroll, top 10 team, top 12 farm system.
Pretty good.
It changes pretty quickly, and I don't know what the hell is going to happen in 2026. I guess we got to find out. But the schedule's out for next year, and that's a good sign. You can at least get out in front of it. And I'm sure the Jays and their marketing department, Keegan, they're going to be flying now because they know what they're selling. And you want to sell when things are hot, and it's about as hot as it can get right now.
Oh, yeah. People are probably getting some emails heavy already. Buy.
Yeah.
That time of year. Yeah, fellas, I was sitting, bright and early this morning as I was waking up feeling fresh, and that 2026 schedule release email hit. And I said, oh, my God, not yet. Okay.
That's quick.
But, man, it's a nice soft opening for them, too. You know, that's got the makings of, I think, A's, Rockies, and another weak club in there. Little 7-2 opening. Probably
like that.
9 bobblehead days right in a row off the top.
Yep. Hook it up.
What does the schedule mean for you? Like, do you look at that and you start to pinpoint certain trips? Like, you see somewhere down south in the middle of July, and you're like, I'm already sweating just thinking about that trip.
Oh, yeah. Like, probably a couple top worries for me. Number one, where am I at the trade deadline? Am I going to be sweaty when I'm on TSN? Thankfully, we're here in Toronto. Ideally, the dome's closed. Pretty comfortable.
Okay.
Number two is when I go through the list and start making up the lies to the girlfriend about how this schedule can work for both of us. You know, look at this great trip to the West Coast. Wouldn't you like to come along for this? My job's actually healthy and sustainable. Let's do this. So, you know, you start to work in the travel, kind of the half vacations along the way, and some cities that you can extend some fun in. But it's really mentally I go through first. And I try to use my 2 or 3 vetoes on a few different cities. You know, I try to scratch a few out with the big red X.
I like that. Well, I'll give you one right here off the top. June 19th, 20th, 21st, Wrigley Field in Chicago. That's one you got to get to if you're a Blue Jay fan. That has to happen. Every couple of years they're going to go back. The Cubs were just in town recently. I love that idea. And
that's a bring the girl along right there.
Chicago's a great town. Late
Chicago
June, weather's
is
beautiful.
The best city to do a trip to, man. I love Chicago. It's my number one. Get some day games at Wrigley. Have your nights free in Chicago.
Love it.
That is a good look.
Little architecture tour on the river.
Yeah.
Hit the boat? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, man. I'll give you another one, man. The first week of July, the 6th through the 12th, right before the All-Star break, they're in the Bay Area at Giants and then at Padres. You do a little Pacific Coast Highway action there. Maybe pop into L.A. on the 9th when they're off. Whew. That might be
Bring
something
someone
to
along
circle.
to the San Diego trip, and that's where I extend the stay, but my return flight is still for quote-unquote work purposes.
Beautiful idea.
Important way to look at it. Fellas.
Beautiful idea. I love that.
When you were a little younger, would you like venture off into Tijuana if you were doing a San Diego trip? Is that something that would have happened?
Oh, it would have tempted me. I saw a lot more 4 a.m.s back in the day, let me tell you, but now I'm trying to do this a little more sustainably, but I used to look at the schedule release a lot differently in, let's say, 2019 when I was a different younger man.
Totally agree with that. All right, Keegan, enjoy yourself tonight. Thank you for doing this.
You got it, fellas. We'll talk soon.
There's Keegan Matheson of MLB.com and OverDrive co-host. Need to make sure we point that out. Joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline, drive the built-in Canada fuel-efficient, fun-to-drive Toyota RAV4, gas or hybrid models. Available. Visit mapletoyota.com.
Did I see that he's in this week? I think it's you, me, and him.
Yeah, I think he might be.
Week.
Yeah, I think he is later in the week on Thursday. Keegan's in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like, July and August is where I can get away. I would love to go see the Jays at Wrigley, 3rd week of June. That's going to be tough. That'll be around the NHL draft.
3rd week of June?
Yeah, it's around there. That weekend.
Canadian Open would be done already.
Canadian Open's the week before, I believe. It's a little bit later this year than it has been. This past year, the Canadian Open, I think, was started in May, actually, the end of May. This year, I want to say it's the 8th to the 13th or something. But going to see the Jays at Wrigley would be special. Really, really special. I love that place. I've been to a game to see the Giants. It was AT&T when I was there. I don't know what it's called now, Oracle Park or so. It's an unbelievable ballpark. Unbelievable. That would be a cool trip.
That would
do a game in San Fran, then drive down to San Diego, drive through LA. 2nd week of July. That might be something I have to circle.
That is cool. You know what? Thinking about cool stadium experiences. San Francisco, when Barry Bonds was hitting bombs out of that park, that would have been something that's you got to get down and see it.
Yep.
Right? That's a destination that you travel to. You sit up in the bleachers and you're like, we just got to experience the Barry Bonds thing.
That would have been so cool. Now, we were there. My wife and I went to a game in 2014. That was when they were winning the World Series.
Lincecum was
Lincecum and Posey and, Boschy was their manager. And, yes, that was when they were, peaking because they won 3 – I want to say they won 3 World Series in 5 or 6 years. And we were there in 2014, and that would have been sandwiched between – I think they won 11, 13, 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
So they're hugely popular anyway in the Bay Area. Like, it's massive in San Fran. It's a great sports town. But they were at their peak when we went, and it was incredibly cool.
Well, there's another example of what we were talking about to start the show, where it's like, this is the team that's in their window to win right now, and until someone comes up there and knocks them off, like the Giants had that, Dodgers are in it now, like Yankees have been doing it in the AL, or they've been
competitive. Yes.
They haven't been winning, but yeah, like that. We forget that the Giants were that team.
They were that team
about a decade ago.
Well, it was 10, 12, and 14 they won.
Okay.
So we were there in 14, August of 14, which was, they'd already won twice, and they were about to win that year.
10, 12, 14. And then you have to figure 11, 13,
15. They were in it.
You're right.
Yeah, like, so they're in it. That was
6 years basically.
5 or 6 year run that was crazy.
The team's really good and they have a chance to win.
Yeah. Well, and 15 was against the Royals, and that was Chevy guy when Madison Bumgarner won the World Series MVP.
Yeah.
That was in
technology
14.
and stuff.
Yeah, that was, I guess, in 14.
I love how that one's always ready to go. Like, you never know when that's coming up on
always
the show,
ready.
but it's at the top of JP's pile.
Yeah, because it was Giants beat the Royals in 14, then the Royals beat the Jays in the CS in 15 and won the World Series that year.
Right. Yeah.
So,
technology and stuff.
That one will never go anywhere. If I'm still sitting here in 30 years and I just say Chevy guy,
technology and stuff,
it'll be playing.
JP will be sitting there too.
JP, I hope will be.
You guys are a package deal.
We are.
Doogie.
Connected to the hip. Doogie's in there.
30 years, Doogie. Man, I can't even imagine what
30 years from now, the cologne that Doogie will be wearing.
Oh, it's going to be special stuff.
Yeah. It'll be musky. All right, we got futures coming up. Frankie FanDuel is coming up here with his own NHL futures.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to react to those. I've got some futures in terms of what I expect to come this year in the NFL. We'll get to that a little bit later this afternoon. We'll pick up on some confirm or deny. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Go, 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 go! The race is on. The Amazing Race Canada, all new, Tuesday at 9 on CTV. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Trevor May on the Blue Jays in the chase for the AL East, best team in the American League. Cal Raleigh hit another one last night, 50 home runs.
You got to think, man, like, what more does he need to do, especially being a catcher?
He's my MVP vote.
He has to be.
Yeah,
I
think he has to be. I mean, the fact that, again, he's at 50 now, he's got 30 more games to play, and he needs 13 more home runs to pass Judge.
The fact that you just said that as a catcher, it kind of like solidifies it for me. Like, yeah, he can't have an offer the rest of the year, but he's not. Like, his season's been too good for him to just all of a sudden stop hitting jacks.
Right. You got to think he's going to push up on 60 home runs.
Right.
58, 59 as a catcher. They're well into the playoffs now. You know, like, obviously there's still time for teams to fall apart, but it does appear as if the Red Sox, Yankees, and Mariners, those are your three wild card teams. Right? I think the Royals are 4 games back or something. I don't see a scenario where those teams catch up.
No.
So Seattle's in.
Yeah.
You're in the playoffs. You're a catcher. You're going to hit upwards of 60 home runs. I'm sorry, that's the MVP.
Yeah, and the thing that happens
good for Judge. He's been phenomenal, but it's Cal Raleigh.
If you don't award the guy who's the catcher for having a year like this, when is another catcher going to have a year like this? Doesn't
likely
really
never.
happen.
No, we've never seen anyone.
And then we're going to say, oh, he actually wasn't the MVP because it had to be Aaron Judge again that year.
And Judge has been great, but now with the injury, he's not playing the outfield as much. The team's been sputtering a little bit, not his fault, but still. And he set a bar so high, for me, it's Raleigh. All right, Futures Day on FanDuel. We'll get to some NFL futures a little bit later this afternoon. But what do you have for me here, Frankie?
I got 5
Frankie
for
FanDuel.
you. Okay, Frankie FanDuel. I got 5 futures for you. Some of them are awards. Some of them are goal and point over-unders, and I got a team standings one.
Okay.
Ready to go?
This is NHL.
This is all NHL.
I love it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
First one, Ivan Demidov, plus 230 to win the Calder. Now, there's going to be Zeev Buium, who I believe is the second best odds right now, Matthew Schaefer. But I think the fact that Demidov has played so well overseas for so long, has a little NHL experience, played in the playoffs last year. Like, this guy, if he was getting drafted this year, he would have been going first overall. And he would, like, he's super, super dynamic. I think this is the guy that wins the Calder, and that would make the Montreal Canadiens having 2 consecutive Calder winners.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty incredible. Plus 230. I think that's an appropriate. Those are appropriate odds. I mean, you're betting on young players. There's a lot of unpredictability there. He's a heavy favorite, and he should be. I'd be curious to see who would be second in terms of the odds, not even the player necessarily.
I think it's Zeev Buium who's second. The this is the thing. So he's going up against essentially 2 defensemen.
Is he in Minnesota?
He's in Minnesota.
Yeah, and he came up at the end of the year last year.
Exactly. He came up, and he's a really smooth puck-moving defenseman. Schaefer, really smooth puck-moving defenseman.
Schaefer just didn't play last year enough.
He played like 20 games.
That's what would concern me about even having him in the NHL.
Yeah. I think with the draft class this year,
watered down.
I don't think there's anyone there that's like really going to grab this thing. Like, is it a guarantee that Michael Misa even plays in the NHL?
No.
Don't know.
I don't. I'm not sure it is.
I
think that's a really solid bet. I would think it's Demidov versus the field. And as long as he stays healthy, I'm not sure the odds are going to be better than they are right now.
Bingo.
Like if he ends up with 65 points and they make the playoffs again, he's winning the Rookie of the Year.
And if he gets off to a hot start, I don't know if you'll ever see it at plus 230 again.
Right. You may be paying some juice.
Exactly.
Like at the end of October.
Okay, second one, Jack Adams. Mike Sullivan, plus 1,700 to win the Jack Adams as head coach of the New York Rangers. Because
checks every box.
I think about it, man. New coach on the scene. Team was such a mess last year. There's a lot of returning players, even though there's guys that have moved on, like Chris Kreider, and Trouba's gone now, and they've kind of revamped things. But if it basically boils down to new coach came in, Rangers were back, they won the Metro, it kind of writes itself a little bit. Like there's some other guys that were shorter odds, whether it was Marty St. Louis or even Joel Quenneville in Anaheim or the guy in Utah, Andre Tourigny.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Rangers turning it around drastically, that gets a lot of attention based on the market, based on how bad it was last year. So I think that, plus 1,700.
Yeah, you're getting 17 to 1 on
good.
That. Yeah, I mean, it is the most narrative-driven award every year because it's always the team that came out of nowhere, and that shouldn't necessarily apply to the Rangers because of the market they play in. It's the Rangers, but they were horrendous last year. It's new coach bump. Like Rick Tocchet just did it in Vancouver.
Yeah.
2 years ago. New coach, team came out of nowhere. Everything miraculously went their way. It was a lock. And Sullivan is a good enough coach to do that because it's the market. If they do have a great year, it's going to get louder and louder. Look what he did. It was a disaster last year. He figured it out. It fits the narrative play in terms of how you could picture this one playing out.
And would you not, you wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers were top 2 in the Metro.
No.
Shesterkin's a net.
Yeah.
They should, on paper, they still have a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
Although there's some players gone. Keandre Miller's gone. Kreider's gone. We talked about that. But, it still should be a pretty good team.
It should be a good team.
If he's the one who harnesses that, going to get a lot of attention for that award.
Sure. That makes sense.
All right, number 3. This one I think is right up your alley. Austin Matthews over 43.5 goals.
That's his total
minus
right now, 43.5? Yeah, I'd hammer the over.
That's the easiest over ever. Is it not? 43.5? Now,
I'm bracing myself for him to have a big bounce back season.
We talked about health, and I think that's the only reason why this is 43.5, because if Austin Matthews has a 62-game season, then all of a sudden, that's a pretty high clip that he would have to score at and possibly be playing through some discomfort and pain, which is not an easy thing to do. But 43.5, if Matthews is healthy, he says hi to that in February.
Yes. That's the truth, is that we just talked about it with Demidov. That's the lowest odds you're going to find for him, blah, blah, blah. A total of 43.5, albeit he's been under at times in his career. He just did it last year.
2 out of the last 3 years.
Yes. But, when he's been chugging, he has been a lock for 40 every year of his career, prior to this past one, I guess. Even the lockout year, he had 40 or 41. His rookie year, he had 41, I want to say. And I feel like, again, there's a lot of emphasis on Marner not being there. And yes, Marner's a phenomenal player and playmaker. Other guys can step in it, not give the exact same level of production, but Matthews has got to be a guy that's going to drive himself. He's done that his whole career. He creates more 5-on-5 just based on how he plays and the position he gets in, and I still believe he's capable of doing that. He's still going to have the familiarity of Nyes playing on the left wing with him. 43.5, I think he cruises past that. And to your point, if there is an injury, and that's obviously the biggest question mark with him this year, and if it shows up again this year, then you're talking a serious realignment of how you feel about him and what's going to happen the rest of his career. That's why this just feels like such a big platform year for him, because Marner's gone. They performed the way they performed in the biggest games last year against Florida. It finished on such a sour note, maybe the most sour note of their playoff careers, which is saying something because there's been a lot of sour notes.
Yeah.
Probably the most embarrassing falling flat on your face moment they've ever had. And the injuries. All of that ties in. Marner gone, the way they finished, the injuries, the doubt. He has got to have a season here where he shuts people up.
The challenge this year is because of the Olympics, the schedule is so condensed in the NHL. But if you are healthy this year, if you're Austin Matthews and you get through this year healthy, you can withstand it, man.
He's 28 years old.
You're
27.
You get through the grind of this year, and I guess I'm probably would be a little more worried just based on how many back-to-backs there's going to be, or there's going to be how many 3 and 4, how many weeks there's going to be 4 games in a week, just because they're not playing NHL games basically in February. And this guy's got to go to the Olympics. He's got to go to Italy. He's got to travel. He's got to do everything involved with that, presuming he's healthy, right? Mm-hmm. But if he gets through that, that's that's knowing that the wear and tear isn't affecting Austin Matthews. So we'll see if he's able to do that. But I think the condensed schedule also plays a factor in this next one that I have. And tell me if you're surprised. I'll tell you what it is first. It's Jack Hughes over 80.5 points. That's minus 114. Now, the last 2 years, he's played 62 games a year. 2 years ago, he had 74 points. Last year, he had 70. If this guy plays 70 games, he's over 80 points.
Yeah,
72.
He's a point-a-game guy.
He can't stay healthy either.
That's the issue. It's a bigger issue for him than Matthews or anybody else.
He has never played an 82-game season. The most he's ever played is 78.
Yeah.
But he's well over a point per game. The 80.5, though, I look at it and I'm like, Jack Hughes is not an 80-point player. I see Jack Hughes play. I'm like, that's a 100-point player every day of the week.
Yes.
He just has to stay in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, maybe that's a little bit of a flyer. Maybe that's wishful thinking on a year where there's a condensed schedule. But you also have to think at some point a guy who's...
He's 24, 20...
He's 24.
Yeah.
He's got to have a couple 82-game seasons under his belt at some point.
Yes.
At 24 years old, should be able to.
He should. I mean, that has been a consistent... He's just not a big guy.
No,
like, he seems to put himself in positions to get hit. You know, like, remember Pacioretty got him last year in a game.
Yeah, he did.
Like, just demolished him.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he seems to just be hurt all the time. And his stats would indicate that. But the points per game would also indicate if he gets to even 70, 75 games played, which should not be asking much out of a 24-year-old who needs to perform. He's likely an American lock. He was for the Four Nations, but he did not play well at the Four Nations. Like, he did not fit in well there.
Kind of got pushed out on that team that was big.
Exactly.
They went with big guys. Like Kyle Connor got pushed out on that team because they wanted to go big.
Didn't even play in the final game. So he's got to have a platform season. Yeah, I'd be concerned about that one just because of his history, but it's probably worth looking at a sprinkle because you're banking on him finally putting the pieces together in terms of just health.
I guess and
you got to pay a little juice on that.
That's the crazy thing. But I guess what I'm thinking is Jack Hughes is not an 80-point player. I'm sorry.
Mm.
Like if he's fairly healthy,
if he plays 80 games, he's a 100-point guy.
The year he played 78 games, he had 99 points.
Mm.
So, anyways, that's where I think Jack Hughes could be at. I have one more for you. Vegas, Pacific Division winner, plus 145.
They the favorite in that division?
They're the favorite at plus 145.
Vegas, I'm a little bit more concerned and a little more bearish on them than others are, yourself included, clearly. I think the Pietrangelo absence is huge.
Huge, for sure.
Huge. Yes, Marner's there now, and Marner makes them better, and they've got a good team on paper, a very good team on paper. I don't see like this all-world great team on paper. Like I like Eichel, I like Hurdle, Stone. I don't know. How many games Mark Stone going to play?
60.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that would be 60? That would be a good year. I think, 60.
Like is Aiden Hill going to give you 50 starts? And if so, what does that look like?
I'm not basing it so much on Vegas. I'm basing it on who's around Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we know the Edmonton
San Jose,
Oilers.
yes. Outside of the Oilers, who is really competing in that division?
San Jose's not going to be good.
No.
Anaheim's not winning the division.
No, they're not.
Vancouver, probably not winning the division, maybe pushing for a playoff spot. Pushing for a playoff spot. Calgary?
No.
Sniffing around a playoff spot, maybe.
LA, maybe. LA is the one.
LA's the one where I look at it, I'm like, LA could be a good team, but are they winning the division good?
They have not been.
They could be a team where it's like, you don't want to play LA in the playoffs, which we've kind of said about them.
And then they run into Edmonton, and Edmonton spanks them and embarrasses them.
So I really see it between Vegas and Edmonton.
That's true.
And I'm like, I think Vegas might be the better regular season team.
Mm-hmm.
I think Edmonton, I want to see how it works with all the guys out and who's in now.
Right.
And the goaltending. I don't know. Like, I think Edmonton also, having been to Stanley Cup final the last couple of years, similar to Florida last year.
Playing a lot of hockey.
I was like, they played a lot of hockey in the regular season. Wake us up when it's playoff time.
Well, and they always have a rough start. Like, they just seemingly have cup hangover without the Stanley Cup. That's what happened to them last year.
Yes.
And this year, and they did not win the division. Vegas did.
Yeah.
So I would, anticipate the same thing happening for Edmonton? A bit of a kind of, oh, man, we got to go back at it again. And
big summer, a lot of weddings.
Yep. A lot of weddings.
Jet skis in Europe.
Yeah.
Right?
Lots
Could
going
be a
on.
slow start.
And the McDavid contract has not been signed yet.
It has, they haven't even had the conversation about it.
Which I don't understand. How have you not had a conversation yet?
I know. I totally understand it. This is the conversation. Call the agent. Hey, is Connor ready to talk extension? We'll let you know when we're ready. Okay. That's the conversation.
I get it from Edmonton's standpoint. They have no other. What are they going to do?
Right.
They're trying to call, and I'm sure they're trying to talk. But from McDavid's standpoint, unless he simplified it and he's already figured it out, which he very well could have done internally, like he and his agent have talked it over and said, "This is what we're going to do," and it's not that complicated. They're going to call Edmonton and say, "This is what we're going to do." Maybe that's going to happen. But why would you not have the conversation? Unless you're waiting for something, like you're waiting for some sort of an answer from the Oilers.
Yeah, I don't.
Because, like, the goaltenders, last time I checked, it's still the same two guys.
It is the same
like,
two
nothing
guys.
has happened in the NHL.
Blue line is
nothing
the
has
same.
happened.
Yeah, no.
Nothing.
The way the teams were in early July is basically the way they are now. There was no offer sheets. There was no significant trades. That's who they got. So I don't know how his mind would have changed from then till now. So maybe that's why the conversation hasn't happened yet. And maybe it bleeds into the season. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's like a 3-year deal that gets done. But anyways, those are my futures. Demidov for the Calder, Sullivan for the Adams, Matthews over 43.5, Hughes over 80.5 points, and Vegas to win the Pacific.
Yeah, I like them. I like them a lot. I like the Demidov one a lot. I love the Sullivan one.
Matthews over 43.5 is just like he breezes through that if he's healthy in February.
And that's what it comes down to, if he's healthy. But if he's healthy and he says he's feeling good, then with or without Mitch Marner, that guy's scoring 45 goals. Yeah. Like, I have no doubt. Playing with Nyes and whoever else is going to be on his wing on the power play, everything's going through him.
Whoever.
Yeah. That guy's scoring 45. Year 10. 27, 28 years old?
Yeah.
45.
The Hughes one, I'm just like, he's just not an 80-point player. At some point, he's got to...
He's got to play 82 games at some point.
Got to give... Yeah.
Like, he owes that organization something here. And that'll be interesting to see what happens down there. Okay, more futures a little bit later this afternoon. Trevor May coming up. And the NFL cutdowns, man. It sounds like Shedeur is a part of the Cleveland Browns after they traded Kenny Pickett last night. More on that into the next hour as well. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Don't sweat the technique.
All right, we got a tweet in here from Stutzla fan. Wonder what he's about to contribute to this futures conversation. Let's see here. I'm sure it's 100% objective.
All right.
Here we go. The Sens are winning the Atlantic this year. Best bang for your buck future by far in the Atlantic Division. That actually probably is pretty good value. Although there's probably some value on them missing the playoffs too. You can probably get plus money on them missing. What is better value?
I was going to say, if you're like this or that, I'm taking them to win the division over them missing the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah. I think they take a step forward, not a step back.
Interesting.
But I still wouldn't sprinkle on them winning the division because it's so crowded in the Atlantic. Like, how do you decide between Toronto, Tampa, Florida, and Ottawa? Like, you're basically saying they're going to leapfrog 3 teams.
Yeah, exactly.
That are 3 pretty good teams.
They're plus 750 to win the division on FanDuel right now, which is pretty good odds. And as of now, they would be 4th. Like, Florida's clearly the best team in the league right now. Now, I do question with Tkachuk not playing probably until January. I wonder if Tkachuk will be ready for the Olympic Games. I would think he will be, but no guarantees. But do they just kind of slow roll their way? I think they're going to do what they did last year and rope a dope, and who cares?
I don't
just make it, get to 100 points.
They couldn't care less about home ice or winning a division. We'll be in the playoffs, and you just don't want to play us.
Yes.
And sucks for you if you're a top 3 team in your division or you win the division and you got to go through us.
So let's say Florida, they can win the division, but maybe not likely. The Leafs, Tampa, Ottawa, Montreal, they all made it last year. Yeah, I mean, there might. I don't see Ottawa winning the division, but I can understand the value in it. Like I can visual. It's not impossible to envision. Yeah. Will Allmark start 55 games? I don't know. Probably not, based on his history. Do they have enough in terms of that tandem? Do they even
expect him to? You think at this point they expect him to play 55? I don't know.
Probably not, but they're paying him a lot of money.
Yeah.
All right. We'll come back and continue with the futures into the final hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. At tea time, everybody agrees. I'll stare directly.
Final hour OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Brian Hayes, Frankie Corrado, Jays Twins tonight. Chris Bassett on the mound for the Jays. Coming off a 10-4 win last night.
Dude,
Lots of run production.
Let me ask you this about the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing, because we're coming into the show with Taylor Swift every hour. All those guys that she broke up with or that broke up with her, they were all in the wrong. Taylor Swift is vindicated now because she found a guy. She's found true love. They were all wrong. She was right. She just needed Travis Kelce to come along, and he's the best.
Yeah. I guess that's the way she would probably platform it,
right?
Right? Like that's kind of what this would suggest. She was just waiting to find the right guy.
All those guys were wrong.
Like, how do you write an album now, though, based on everything being so great in your life?
No, she's just gonna go back through the old highlight reel of like, oh, Calvin Harris treated me so bad, I got to write another song about it.
Harry Styles. I'll go back in time and talk about old Harry.
Yeah. My old high school boyfriend.
Yeah.
I hated him again.
Yeah,
write
because,
another song.
You know, feel-good love songs, those don't really pop. You know?
You got to feel the hurt.
Yeah,
man.
you got to have something like dark and heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to the Kelce Swift crew. Big engagement. I guess the ring is valued at $550,000. Which I don't know. That's pretty amazing.
I think that's
pretty
fine,
amazing.
right?
I think that's really good.
In those
like, how do you possibly she's a billionaire?
Yeah.
How do you impress her with a ring?
In those circles, though, I don't know what the going rate is for a ring when you're in that tax bracket.
Right. Exactly.
I can figure out like, you're a lawyer. I know how much you could probably. You're an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
I can do the math on that. I can't do the math on what you get Taylor Swift for a ring. And if you're Travis Kelce,
do the math.
Yeah, do the math.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's the answer. $550,000 American.
But you think there's some really wealthy guy that looks at it and it's like Taylor Swift, and you only spent $500,000?
Yeah, probably. Looking down on Travis Kelce.
Right? Like,
maybe Harry Styles is thinking that.
How much did Kanye West spend on Kim Kardashian's ring? Like all these stupid things.
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if Kanye is necessarily the guy that you're looking at for, setting the bar for anything right now.
Yeah. It was the first like celebrity couple that came into my head.
That was a big one. I'm sure it was a very expensive ring. Had it, because you're right. Your Kardashians are billionaires.
Right.
What the hell are they looking at?
Yeah.
Anyway, Trevor May coming up here in a moment. Mike Tannenbaum later in the hour, ESPN NFL front office insider. He'll join us around 6:40. Sounds like Shedeur Sanders is, going to be on the team, 53-man roster to break camp for the Browns because they traded Kenny Pickett to Vegas last night, which means Dylan Gabriel will be there. Such a weird, dichotomy. You got old guy Joe Flacco, who I thought was finished 3 or 4 years ago, and kind of miraculously came out of retirement and, has kept his career alive. It's pretty amazing to see when you consider.
Off the couch, man.
Yeah, off the couch.
That was literally his motto. Like
off the couch.
Off the couch.
Off the couch, and look what Joe Flacco could bring. And then you got these two rookies in Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders who are nowhere close to being ready to play. Yet one of them, I think, will get snaps this year. Flacco's not playing 17 games.
I wouldn't be surprised if both of them get snaps this year. I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns. I was saying this to Al's brother last week. And this is when Pickett was still in the mix. Wouldn't be surprised if the Browns use 3 quarterbacks this year.
Mm-hmm.
And for some teams, a lot of teams, you would look at that and say, well, that's nonsense. That's crazy. But for the Browns, 3 is like, yeah, I could see it.
Right.
I could see it.
And the thing is that if that happens, that means they're probably in big trouble. And they're going to lose a lot of games, which means they could have a top 5 pick next year. And then what do? Pick a quarterback?
But didn't we think the Browns were going to be in trouble anyways?
Yeah, I thought so.
They're playing.
I think
so.
Team. But their defense is so good. They have the potential to be very good. That's the crazy thing about Cleveland is they're so unpredictably stupid that the craziest thing now would be they find a way to win 10 games and make the playoffs. Like somehow it just
if Flacco stays healthy.
Flacco stays healthy. Plays like off-the-couch Flacco, and he's very, very resilient, and he's very accurate, and he doesn't turn the ball over, and they find a run game, and the O-line's, again, all these things have to break their way.
Yeah.
But, you have Myles Garrett. You have some defensive weaponry that could keep ball games close. And if Flacco can do anything, if you have a special team that is somehow intact, it's a thin margin in football.
It is. The thing, though, we can talk about all these things going right for the Browns. They play in the same division as the Ravens, the Bengals, the Steelers.
Yep.
Right? Like, you look at their season to start, they got the Bengals, the Ravens, the Packers, the Lions, the Vikings, the Steelers.
Yikes. That's 0-6, possibly.
That could be 0-6. And then after that, the Dolphins and the Patriots.
So you can win those 2 games. 2-6. Maybe that's what I'm saying, though. Maybe you're 3-5 and you're in it more than you thought.
Right.
You know, or miraculously you're 4-4 and you're like, wow, look at this.
If that happens, then you're in really good shape.
Yeah. Again, a lot of crazy things have to happen, but the point being is that the NFL is completely unpredictable in individual areas.
Yeah. And I'm not surprised. Like, Vegas trading for a quarterback is not the craziest thing in the world, but I almost thought it was going to be, what's the guy in Indianapolis, his name? Richardson.
Yeah, well,
Richardson.
It just feels like with Anthony Richardson, like they announced Daniel Jones is the guy and he's going to be the guy. He may have killed his career last year when he pulled himself from the game.
That's what Al's brother said last week.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that everyone looks at.
No one's ever seen that before.
You can't. How do you trust the guy that's going to do that?
You cannot. You cannot do it in the NFL. I was so flabbergasted by that story. I could not believe it. Like, I was not watching it live, and when I saw it online that Anthony Richardson said, I need a breather. Like, a quarterback pulling himself on a drive is insane.
I couldn't name another instance where that has happened before.
Ever. And he's lost the room, and he's clearly never regained it. And now Danny Dimes is going to get enough rope to possibly drag this team into whatever they're going to go
into. Think about that. What an indictment that is, that they looked at Danny Dimes and they were like,
yeah,
we would rather have you. And the coach, Steichen, was like, this is not just a 1 week thing.
No. We're committed to Dimes.
Year.
Dimes is our guy.
Yeah.
Tony Richardson, go sit over there and watch.
See the Giants cut cutlets?
Yeah, that's
terrible.
Seemed like it was kind of inevitable. The guy was a third-string quarterback 2 years ago. He's Italian. He's got an Italian agent. Does not guarantee you anything. Giants need to figure it out quickly. That's a desperate front office, desperate head coach. Very desperate.
Yeah.
All right, Jays Twins tonight. Scherzer looked pretty good last night. Good enough, right? Good enough. Where at this point, I think he's a lock to be one of their 3 starters. Say they play in a wild card, DS, whatever it is. Let's see if our next guest feels the same way. Former MLB pitcher, host of the Mayday podcast, back on OverDrive. Here's Trevor May. How you doing, Trevor?
I'm great. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. In terms of your evaluation of Max Scherzer, the rest of the way, does he simply need to stay healthy? Does he need to show he's still got ace-like stuff? Or is he just a lock for you? Come playoff time, that guy's going to get the ball.
I think that it's staying healthy at this point in Max's career is goal number one. You can't provide value to your team. You can't help your team win if you're not on the field. So if he's healthy and he's out there, he is, just knowing what I know about him, he is confident in his ability to compete, and that's really all you can ask for a guy who's been in the league for 15 plus years. So I would say, though, give him the ball in the playoffs, because if so much of pitching well in the playoffs and getting the job done at that level is just sheer willpower, and there's not a guy, even at his age, there's not a guy in the league who has more willpower than Max Scherzer. So I find spots to give it to him, give him the opportunity, have it be a spot that it's his to lose, and then make adjustments as you need to. As you know, that's what you need to do in the playoffs.
Well, it's also like, if you look back at the way some of these games have gone for the Jays, whether it's been in the wild card the last few years, pretty short leash for some of the starting pitchers. Like, what do you think the reaction is if all of a sudden Scherzer, he's starting a playoff game, gets into a little bit of a jam? Maybe they start to bring out the analytics and they're like, we're going to take you out. Like, is that in their best interest, or do you let a guy like that work it out on his own?
That's kind of the name of the game for anybody, even the guys at the top of their game. There's very few. I think it's a small handful at this point where in a playoff situation, especially to start off a series or a game that is kind of must win, where you just simply can't let that crooked number go up there, and that is the name of the game for starting pitching. So even the Tarek Skubals and the Garrett Crochets of the world, they're even going to have shorter leashes than they would during the regular season as well. So if you put that into context for Max, his leash would be shorter than he would like probably anyways, even if he were in prime time Max Scherzer territory. And that is just something that you have to do in this day and age, especially with how many quality arms are out the bullpen. But of course, if the bullpen is a little sparse, you tend to let him go. Mm-hmm. I think the number one thing that every manager in every organization would love to just not even have to think about that. We know that's usually wishful thinking, but if the guy's cruising, there's no reason to pull the trigger on that unless there is some rough waters in sights. And I think that a couple times in recent years we've kind of pulled too early. So it'll be interesting to see kind of with especially the Jays and the whole rotation, how mm-hmm. that is implemented with guys and their experience and how deep they used to go into games and how deep they go into games now. It's going to be a puzzle to solve, but I think the arms are out there to either way to get the job done and win some games.
Yeah, the Jays, I think in particular, is a really interesting puzzle to put together because you're dealing with Scherzer, who's 41. You got Shane Bieber now, who's coming off Tommy John, looked really good on Friday night. Their bullpen has been a disaster over the last month, a really bloated ERA. It has really not been good. So you're juggling health, age, Tommy John, a bullpen that's leaky, yet a team that's 5 games up on the American League East. So it feels overly complicated. Yet at the same time, I'm curious how you think they could simplify this, how John Schneider, Pete Walker in the front office, how they can simplify this to make the team feel and the bats feel okay, the arms are going to be there for you, whether it's Bieber, Scherzer, Gausman, whatever rotation we're going to go with in terms of the bullpen. You still got a month to do that. Do you feel confident there's enough time for them to figure this out, relay the message to the rest of the team and say, we're good come playoff time?
Yeah, I think a month is plenty of time. And September is usually this is what's happening in September usually. You're trying to shore up. Mm-hmm. You're trying to get the guys who maybe are banged up a little bit, everyone healthy. If you can get to a point where you have a lot of depth going into the playoffs, I think you are put in a good position because the more opportunities for different guys to be the hero, the one that steps up, that tends to work out. But we've seen, the Phillies made a good run a couple of years ago, went real deep into the playoffs with a very leaky bullpen, one of the leakiest bullpens I've ever seen in a playoff grew, and they got the job done. They found ways to do it with enough arms. I think it's just try to get as many options as you can have ready to go for those last couple of weeks of September, because obviously there's going to be pressure, for the division. That's still going to be, it's not a foregone conclusion at this point. There's very few leads at this early in the game that you can say that for, but once you get closer, if you are able to not see a lot of red ink on your ledger here, and you see a lot of guys that are available, that is something that is controllable. That is something you can focus on, and getting everyone to peak at the same time going into the playoffs is that next step. So those two things are as much as you can do, but getting everyone healthy and making sure that even if guys are struggling, they're still healthy and the stuff's still there. It's just maybe decisions being made. You can deal with that. But what you can't deal with is, a lot of guys that aren't 100%.
With George Springer having the season that he's having and, an OPS above 900, how much more important is that for the Jays come playoff time this time around? A George Springer who's kind of had this resurgence and is playing with a lot of confidence and is really contributing. Does that bang the drum a little louder for them?
I would say absolutely, especially with how his performance has been historically in the playoffs. He's played in big games. He's come through in big games. That is one thing. I think that's a major strength, and I think that a big reason that the Blue Jays are in the position they are in is because of the wealth of veteran presence and the wealth of experience in that clubhouse. Even if it's guys who on paper you may say are past their prime, there is something to be said for having done it before, because the playoffs they're just a different beast. There is a nervousness, and there is an anticipation, and there's an excitement that doesn't just come during the game. It's all day before and it's all day after. And it's like that. If you go deep, it's like that for a month. And they have the guys. I can't disappointed another team that has more of the guys who've done it in October and in November than the Blue Jays have right now. And I think that's something to hang your hat on. And George Springer's a huge part of that. And his resurgence has been massive for how the offensive turnaround has been this year. But just all around showing that, you guys can get back on the horse, and we can be a force in the batter's box that just wasn't there last year. It's a lot of the same guys, and it's a much different productive team. With
Trevor May, and you look at the standings in the American League. You get the Tigers 78-55. The Jays are a half game back, 77-55. And then the Jays are 4.5 up on Houston in terms of those top two seeds in the American League. And I think naturally, in Toronto, we're still looking back on Boston and the Yankees, and they have to play those two teams twice. All right, they each play them one more time the rest of the way. So there's still some jockeying of position within the division. But I'm curious, as an outsider, Trevor, looking at this situation, if you're the Jays, should you be looking forward? Like, should your priority be, we got to just secure the top seed in the American League here, because that would be massively beneficial, clearly, to avoid the wild card, and then everything's got to come through Toronto all the way into the World Series?
I would say, maybe the last couple of years with this new playoff format and the way that bye has kind of, teams have been affected by it, it seems, or like the way it kind of plays out. I would say be hesitant, but in the unique case of the Blue Jays and figuring out this rotation and getting the bullpen going, I think rest and just being able to line up your pitching is such a valuable thing for them to be able to do. And so I would say minimum, you need that one of those top two spots to get that space. But if you can take that top spot and just make sure that you have home field advantage the whole way, like they have played so well at home, it's a massive advantage. It's, you have the entire country of Canada behind you. Mm-hmm. Like, there is something to be said for that. So going all out for that and finishing really strong, I think all of those things take care of themselves. If you just go out and you're like, we are still focused on winning each game the same way we're going to need to do it in the playoffs, that will give you that seed that you need. And that would, I think, be more beneficial for them than maybe other 1 or 2 seeds in the past.
Outside of the Blue Jays organization, is this the year a guy with the nickname Big Dumper wins an MVP? And I'm talking about Cal Raleigh, who just hit his 50th home run.
It's looking good. It is looking good. I know it's tough. For the Blue Jays fans to talk about Cal too much. I know he likes hitting up there in Toronto, but like the guy's been incredible. I've been able to see him in person. I think I've been to 4 games. I think I've seen 5 home runs. So maybe I'm a good luck charm. It doesn't seem like he needs one, but I think it would be a really cool thing for the game. He's a catcher. There's just a lot of things going against his position and the types of things he needs to do to win an MVP. And if he were able to do it in a league that had Aaron Judge doing what he's doing, that would be one of the most impressive seasons of all time. And I got to say it, he still's got Judge and stolen bases. I think that's a big deal. If he gets, I think he's in double digits now. If he gets up in the high teens, like that might seal the deal. I know I'm coming from left field here, but a catcher with 15 stolen bases is crazy. Name Big Dumper. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And, like what your team does doesn't matter as much in baseball compared to other sports. Generally, your team's got to be in the playoffs, to win the MVP in the NFL or the NBA or the NHL. But the fact that Seattle has been so good, the last couple of months, and they're in the playoffs and they're likely going to hold on. They're kind of chasing down Houston, but they're going to make the playoffs. Like, that seems substantial to me, Trevor. Like, it's not just a throwaway Mike Trout, I'm so much better than everyone else and my team stinks year. He's contributing to a winner. And once he gets closer to 60 home runs, which I think is going to happen based on what he's done the last 2 nights, and now he's at 50, it's going to get louder and louder and louder. Like, if he's chasing 60 into the last 7-8 games of the year, it's going to be all Cal Raleigh all the time, which is going to be incredible theater.
I fully agree. I think I know we saw Aaron Judge break the AL record for home runs, but it's only 62. Like, right. He would be threatening that if he's even threatening the record for home runs as a catcher, as a switch hitting catcher that catches. He's not platooning either. He's catching a lot. With the way he handles his rotation, the way he receives. He's defensively a very good catcher. And then if they make the playoffs, I think that is necessary.
Got to be a lock.
Make the playoffs. Yeah, you got to. I mean, there's really nothing else to be said there. I think you're just weighing like Aaron Judge has to be hitting three. I mean, if he's hitting 370, like that's tough to beat. But he has kind of come down to earth a little bit. So and it's missed a little bit of time. So I think that it's a much closer race than most would have thought maybe 2 months ago.
Absolutely. And, yeah, Judge is still Judge, but you got to give it up to what Raleigh's doing out in Seattle. He is former MLB pitcher, host of the Mayday podcast, Trevor May. Great catching up with you, Trevor. Thank you for doing this, man. We'll do it again soon.
Of course. Thanks, guys. Talk soon.
You got it. There he is, Trevor May. Yeah, switch hitting catcher that's behind the plate all the time, like Gold Glove type defense, stealing bases
too. That's the thing that
winning team, winning pedigree,
don't
unreal.
take into account, right?
Yeah, incredible.
Like we saw Alejandro Kirk steal a base once.
Yes.
Okay, different.
And it was basically a
different body
free
types.
Bag, like effectively a free bag.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
Kirk's been unreal. Man.
That's not something you're accounting for a catcher to be doing.
No.
They got enough going on.
Right. Yeah, he does it all, man. Like, it's a testament to the greatness of Judge that Judge is still right there with him. Because no one else is close. It's just Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
And he's so good, and he's been so great, and his numbers have been so phenomenal, and he just carries the whole lineup, and Soto's gone, and he continues to do it.
That's such a Yankees thing, though, the last few years, where, like, hey, if Judge isn't hitting home runs or if Judge isn't carrying the lineup, no one else is.
Right.
And still really hasn't been addressed, and they tried to do a ton at the trade deadline. Well, they did.
They made a lot of moves, and their arms are starting to get better. Like, their bullpen arms were brutal the first couple of weeks post-trade deadline for them, but they're starting to pop a little bit more, which is what obviously they're looking for, is shorten the game down. And yet Max Fried was great the first half. He hasn't been so great in the second half. So we'll see with the Yankees. But as of now, you got Red Sox, Yankees, Mariners, and then again, Mariners have a 4-game cushion on Kansas City, 5.5 on Texas. But yeah, I think that's what we're looking at. I think you're looking at Toronto, Detroit, Houston, Boston, New York, Seattle. That's your American League.
Dude, you know what I forgot to mention to you when we were doing the NHL futures last hour? Looking at the Rocket. Draisaitl's the favorite right now.
Mm-hmm.
Matthews is second. Draisaitl's +3 something as the favorite. Remember, I think it was last year, Matthews was coming off 69 goals. You had to pay significant juice for Matthews as the favorite for the Rocket.
Mm-hmm.
And now you could get him at like plus, I don't know, it's in the high threes maybe.
+340, +350.
Yeah, like that landscape changes so much in 1 year.
Well, listen, Draisaitl is in it every single year. Like, he's going to score 45 plus if he's healthy, 50 plus. Pasternak's in it every year. Who am I missing? Reinhardt's been he fell off last year in terms of his goal totals. Ovechkin scores at a high rate, but is he going to keep doing it? Not rocket caliber
rate, no.
Yeah,
it does fall off though after those 3 guys.
Yeah, it's
consistently, anyways.
The guys who every year it's Matthews, Draisaitl, Pasternak, and then you get years where like McDavid scores 60, and then this
Hyman has a big year for some reason,
right? And Reinhardt had scored 56, and
Braden Point could pop 50,
right?
Right. Stamkos used to be in those conversations all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not as much now, but
yeah. How would you wrap up the top 5 goal scorers in the league? I would go Matthews, Draisaitl, Pasternak.
To have it in front of me. These things you always have to like have the names or else you forget. But those are the 3 for sure.
Yeah.
That are like in it basically, well, I guess every year, but it changed last year because Matthews wasn't in it. Tage Thompson could wire home goals. Jake Gensel. But yeah, you're right. Like Draisaitl. Last year, it went Draisaitl, Nylander, Tage Thompson, Ovechkin, Pasternak.
Interesting that Nylander was right there.
We don't really think of him as like a chasing the rocket type player.
No, you think of he's going to score 40, and that's great. He's going to be in the hunt. He's going to score a lot of goals, but Rocket's 50 plus.
Yeah.
Like recently it has been. There have been dips, and there's been ebbs and flows of that award, but I would guess over the last 8 years, anyone that's won it scored 50.
Well, okay,
COVID notwithstanding or a lockout notwithstanding.
Last year, 52 wins it, and then everyone else is in the 40s, and there's not that many guys in the 40s. 2 years ago, it goes 69, 57, 54, 51. Or you get three guys in the 50s, one guy touching 70 almost.
Yeah.
And then a lot of guys in the 40s below that. Crazy how it changed. And that was Dreisaitl's 14th with 41. Got like Crosby, Rantanen, Marchessault, Kucherov, McKinnon had 51.
Yeah,
but I don't.
Rantanen's a guy that he could pot 50 plus.
But that's Rantanen with McKinnon.
Yes. Now he's with Rupe Hintz.
Rantanen 2.0.
Bit of a different,
right?
Different story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, couple more futures. We'll get to that. We got Mike Tannenbaum of ESPN later this hour as well. Our best bets coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, with the help of Healthy Planet, TSN 1050 is donating $10,000 to the TDSB's Backpacks and School Supplies Drive. You can help support our local students, too. $25 donation provides one backpack for a student, and a $30 total donation ensures it includes the essentials. Donations are being accepted now through the end of September. Head to tsn1050.ca to donate today. Week today, kids are back in school. Not that I'm counting.
There's a lot of parents looking forward to that.
See, this last week is a wild week for me because there's still camps going on, and, you know, some people get out of town and they go away, but like my wife and I are working. My kids are not in camps. So it's a lot of trying to figure out what the hell we're doing here. You're like, what are we doing? What's going on during the show? We were coming in here today. We had meetings and all that kind of stuff, and trying to figure out exactly how this is going to work. Tomorrow, we've got my sister-in-law coming to the house, and that's going to work so I can get in here. And
yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be one of those days, one of those weeks. But then next week, everything flips. And I'm looking forward to normalcy. Like, we got a huge college football game this weekend. Texas, Ohio State. That's the biggest game of the year.
Huge.
And that's how it starts. Arch Manning, the number one team in the country, the Longhorns, going to the Buckeyes, who are the number 3 team in the country. I read a couple of weeks ago. I have not looked at what the odds are now. I don't know where the spread's at. But I believe first time in history, a number 1 ranked team in the country starts the season as an underdog in the first game that they play.
How does that happen?
Well, I guess it's home field advantage. Okay. It's so close. Texas is 1, Ohio State's 3.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Buckeyes just won the national championship. So, you know, they're a factory. The Buckeyes are always a great team. It's a really tough place to play in.
It's also going to be interesting watching Arch Manning this year because I feel like, you know, every year when we hear about who's the top quarterback, fans of teams that are going to be terrible start to attach themselves to that guy and like, oh man, the savior's coming. Like if we're going to be bad, we gotta be bad enough that we could get this guy. But we got to find out, like, is he that? Is he going
to come out? Because he may not come out after this year. Like the Mannings are saying he's not going to.
Right.
That's what Archie Manning, the patriarch of the family, the original quarterback, saying, nope, not going to happen. Because Eli stayed until he was a senior. Peyton stayed until he was a senior.
Hard to argue the results.
It's hard to exactly. The NFL's waiting for him. Like the NFL is going to be there. You know, the thing is, Peyton and Eli did not win a national championship, and neither of them won a Heisman. I think Peyton may have finished second or third in the Heisman, and I think they won the SEC championship. So, I mean, it was a different era. There wasn't playoffs back then. But, you know, if they end up number 1 team in the country, pillar to post, win the championship, he wins a Heisman. At that point, do you maybe recalibrate?
Sure, but also...
And what if, like, New Orleans is the first pick overall? That's where the family's from.
This is also a different landscape of college football where NIL money's huge now.
Yes.
Those guys didn't have that. So you're not so worried about the financial aspect, and you'll get your money. But the NFL, you're right, is going to be there for him in a world where Danny Dimes is starting games and Kenny Pickett just got traded because obviously they have a purpose for that. And Jimmy G has stuck around.
Mm-hmm.
When Arch Manning is ready,
yes,
Arch Manning will be playing.
And I think what the Mannings have proven is that this is how you prepare for a great NFL career. Now, they have the luxury, again, of they got money in the family, they got the name, all that kind of stuff. Like you said, NIL, he's playing for Texas. But playing your senior year, for Peyton, it worked out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
For Eli, it worked out pretty well. Or if they had to come out the year before, they'd probably still go first overall, probably. But they went first overall after being a true senior. And, I guess
2 years ago is a great litmus test on getting put into the right situation as a quarterback as a rookie, whether it's Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud.
Yep.
You go to Carolina, they're terrible. You get fed to the Wolves. Or you strike gold and you go to Houston that's got a good defense, it's got a good team, and it's like all of a sudden you look like a stud. But chances are the the stud rookie quarterbacks going to Houston's is fewer and further between.
Yep.
You're more likely going to a Carolina. And that's tough, man.
Well, that's why, again, I do wonder about which team has the pick and how it factors in to the decision. Because what if it is New Orleans, who is expected to be terrible this year? Is that too much pressure? Would that actually lead him to staying and say, I don't want to go to New Orleans? Like, that's his hometown. That's where his grandpa played. Or is it like, man, this is the dream come true? The Saints, first overall, they're going to take me. I know where I'm going. What if the Giants are bad again? I don't think they could be. I mean, they've been awful for years. What if the Giants are first overall pick? Do you want to go play where Eli played? I don't know. The Colts, they got Danny Dimes as their quarterback.
Yeah.
What if the Colts are the worst team in the league?
And on it, like me and Al's brother were talking about this last week because he's a Colts fan. So automatically, as soon as Danny Dimes gets the starting job, he's like, Arch Manning, that's my focus right now. And like, it's not that far fetched that it would be a scenario where it could be Indianapolis making the pick. We'll see what happens, obviously, but I think if you're trying to navigate that as the family, you don't want Indianapolis, you don't want the Giants, and you probably don't want New Orleans. I think you just want to go carve your own path somewhere and be your own person and not have to follow up the legacy that is already built by that name, that is just, you're never going to be able to live up to it. It's going to be difficult.
That would make a lot of sense. And what they've proven with Eli in San Diego, the Chargers back in the day, is that they are willing to tell teams he's not going there. So if it's the Browns, he's probably going to say, I'm not going there. Now, my understanding is the owner actually is pretty close with the family, and I think Jimmy Haslam's his name or whatever. But for me, I would anticipate if the Browns have that pick, he's going back to college, or he's saying, trade me because I'm not playing there. We've been through it with Eli. We're going to do it with this kid. Like, he's going to maybe handpick to an extent where he's going to end up going. But
we should do a list, top 5 best situations for Arch Manning.
Well, listen, he's got to get through this year first. They are a 2.5-point dog to the Buckeyes on Saturday. That's a 12 o'clock kickoff, too. I love that. It'd be great under the lights, but I don't mind starting like College Game Day right into it. I know ESPN's going to be on the grounds. I think Fox is going to be on the grounds. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good question.
Giants had 3 wins last year.
They've been terrible.
Good team.
They've been terrible.
Wins.
Like, what if it's Jacksonville?
What if San Francisco is horrible this year?
It just paid Purdy though.
But they'll the thing is, you would A, find a way to move the money, and B, you wouldn't be in a rush to get this guy in. Like, you could have Purdy for a year, and maybe make some changes around the team. I don't think they're going to be that bad though. I think what if it's Miami? Miami could be. Miami feels like a powder keg that could just explode. But Miami's never won anything, since 72, basically. I wonder what they would think about that coach. Because he's, I don't know.
Mike McDaniel, I don't know if he's going to survive. Like, if they're the worst team in the league, he's not the coach anymore anyway.
Right. Yeah,
that guy's getting the axe.
It feels like he would be an interesting guy that they would have conversations about because he seems like a brilliant guy.
What about Vegas? Tom Brady. Imagine Arch Manning teaming up with Tom Brady.
And Pete Carroll as the coach. I think there's your number one spot right there.
That could be it.
I think there's your number one
Take
spot.
over Vegas. Yeah, because, the Giants, again, 3-win team. But, Tennessee just took Cam Moore. Cleveland's a mess. He's not going there. New England's got Drake May. Jags, I think they'd move off Trevor Lawrence if they're that bad again. Carolina, though. It could be Carolina. They could be the worst team in the league.
You want to stay away from places that are just cesspools for...
What if it's Dallas?
Being terrible.
What if Dallas is the first overall pick?
I can't see Dallas being that bad.
Okay. Me neither, but you never know. All right, Mike Tannenbaum coming up. His take on this and more. We'll get to our best bets powered by FanDuel. We'll do that next.
NFL kickoff weekend begins September 4th on TSN and CTV.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Just keep it safe with me.
Okay, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's Futures Day on FanDuel. I'm on the Bills plus 750 to win the Super Bowl. I'm sticking with it. That's my pick. I'm on the Bills to do it. Their final year at the Ralph. They start their new stadium, the new voyage at the new stadium, by putting a banner up day one, opening night, man. Thursday next year. Unbelievable. I like the over on the win totals for Houston. We just talked about them. I like the Packers, 10-plus wins. Get a little bit of plus money on that. I really like Green Bay this year.
Of course you do.
I'm going with the under 9 wins, 8.5 total, under plus money on the Bengals, under 8.5 wins.
Yeah.
The Bengals, I'm not buying the Bengals right now.
No, something about them seems flaky.
I just don't think they improved. Quarterback's going to be great, but Burrow's been hurt a lot in his career too. He's gotten through camp clean, which is big. They had such a remarkable season offensively last year, and it still wasn't enough for them to get there. And I wonder about that. Now that Chase isn't chasing the money, you got the money. Now that you've spent so much on Chase, Burrow, Higgins, Hendrickson now, where else is the money going? And how have they improved? And they're in a tough conference.
It's still the same issue, right?
Tough division.
The O-line is going to be a problem, and Burrow's going to get chased down, and he's got to deal with a lot, even though he's got weapons. It's great, right? You got to spend money on weapons, but you got to be able to get the ball to the weapons.
Yes, exactly. Exactly what you got to do. But we're through camp, and a lot of cuts being made today, a lot of tough decisions being made today. A guy that's done that throughout his career is an executive in the NFL. Joins us now. Here he is from ESPN, NFL front office insider, Mike Tannenbaum. What's happening, Mike?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey, how you doing? You getting flashbacks? Like, how difficult was this day as a GM to have to basically just kill dreams and make that decision and cut guys? I mean, it's got to be incredibly emotional to go through that.
Yeah, by far the worst day of the year. It's a privilege to run an NFL team, and I was fortunate to do it for a while, but without question, the worst day of the year is today. And, typically would tell the players, the same thing, which is like, look, we could be wrong. Maybe we're making a mistake, and, continue to pursue your dream. You never know. And hopefully it works out someplace else.
Well, last night the news came out, Kenny Pickett traded from Cleveland, which means they're going to have Joe Flacco as their starter, who is the definition of a vet, with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders as the 2 and 3 quarterbacks down there. Do you see Flacco playing every game this year? And if so, or if not, like, how does it work with Gabriel and Sanders, and how loud do you think that story is going to continue to be?
Yeah, what's remarkable, guys? Like, if we went back to, the start of training camp in mid-July, the only quarterback to stay healthy was the 40-year-old Joe Flacco. So
right.
What's really remarkable, Kenny Pickett gets hurt. Eventually he gets traded to the Raiders, and Shedeur Sanders hurts his oblique, and Dylan Gabriel hurt his hamstring. So, if you said to me, do I think he'll play in all 17 games, my answer would be no. But if we were on in mid-July, guys, and you said that 3 of the 4 quarterbacks got hurt, I would say, one of them would have to be Joe Flacco. So, crazier things have happened.
We were talking in the previous segment about Arch Manning and, what this year kind of entails for him, and maybe he doesn't come out of college right away. How do you see this season going for him? And is there maybe an NFL team that's near the bottom of the standings, or you predict is going to be near the bottom of the standings, that you think, well, that could be the spot where he goes, where he considers coming out ahead of time?
Yeah, first of all, I'd be surprised if he came out, just from a standpoint of, by all accounts, he's really happy at Texas. In this NIL era, guys, like, it's, one of these things where, players are getting paid way more than they have in the past. So, I think the one story that everyone's kind of monitoring is, like, well, what happens if it happens with the Saints? So he went to Newman High School in New Orleans. Obviously, his grandfather was a legend for the Saints. His uncles are from New Orleans. So I don't think he'll come out, but if he did, to me, that would be the scenario.
Yeah, that would be something, man, because we were discussing that. Like, do you want to kind of write your own passage and find your own spot, or like they just, that's their royalty in New Orleans, man. And it sure seems like it, Mike, that the Saints are going to be in contention for him, aren't they? Like, they look like they're going to be terrible this year.
I think they have pretty good skill players. Rashid Shaheed, if he's healthy, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara. Offensive line, I think, is better than people realize. So, I think it's about, the health of their skill players. And look, they're in a tough division because I think Tampa Bay is really good. So we'll see. There's always a surprise in the NFL, as we know.
Absolutely. Mike Tannenbaum of ESPN. Where do you stand on the Buffalo Bills and the idea that this could possibly be the year where they break through? If that happens, how does it play out? Why would that happen? Why would this be the year? Could be the year for the Bills?
Look, they're hard to beat. Coach Belichick, who I had the privilege of working for, always talked about in football, oftentimes your opponent will lose the game before you have to win it. And I think, the way the Bills play, they don't turn it over. They don't get sacked. They have arguably the best quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes. So I think it starts with that. I think they're really well coached by Sean McDermott. And then you look at, is it going to be Dalton Kincaid? Is it Keon Coleman that steps up? Khalil Shakir is obviously a very good slot player. So I think there's enough skill there. Maybe not the most explosive group in the world, but I think they're going to be really hard to beat.
Now that we're getting closer to the season, are you surprised that Micah Parsons still doesn't have a deal? And is there any take on how this situation could play out, should play out? Do you think he's back? Like, I don't know. How do you make sense of what's happening in Dallas?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Look, I thought Terry McLaurin and Trey Hendrickson were harder to get done given their ages. You look at someone like Micah Parsons, who's 26, 52 sacks. It's a no-brainer. Like, in the system, guys, you hope to hit on somebody like, Micah Parsons. So a little surprised that it hasn't happened, but, there's a little bit more time before opening day.
Yeah, well, I mean, not for them compared to the other teams in the league because they're in Philly in 9 days or whatever it is.
That's right. That's right.
It happens quick. Their opening night, man. And, I mean, let's say Parsons signs tonight. What is your projection of what the Cowboys are going to be this year?
I think they're maybe the third best team. Now that McLaurin's back in Washington, guys, I'm very, very bullish on the Commanders. I don't know how much Von Miller has left, but maybe it's 15 sacks a game, snaps a game in terms of like helping in the fourth quarter. But I think Trey Amos is a good second-round pick. I think Javon Kinlaw is going to help. And, now on the offensive side with, Jane Daniels getting sacked 47 times last year. They added Tunsil. They drafted Josh Connelly in the first round. I think they're going to be very good.
All right, we'll leave it there. Enjoy the opening of the season. Thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks so much for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
You got it. Mike Tannenbaum of ESPN. Yeah, we got games Thursday night, Friday night down in South America.
Yeah.
I love that Chargers-Chiefs down there. Travis Kelce just got engaged. The guy's got to fly to South America.
If you were Travis Kelce, would you have done this earlier in the summer? Or do you I don't know. The time is right.
I feel like this is their 2-year anniversary. I know way too much about these people.
You know that this is a 2-year
I'm pretending like I don't, but someone tweeted in saying it's their 2-year anniversary.
Don't lie. You got a text from your wife.
No, actually, she's been busy. She did send me the original report. I was very excited.
You want to hear something? I was like just doing a token 20-minute bike ride today, and I heard like an audible gasp upstairs from my wife. And I was like, what's that noise? And sure enough, I go on Twitter, and there it was tweeted out like 20 seconds ago.
Yep.
Like that was how the news was perceived in our household.
I love it.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Very passionate fan base.
Very passionate fan base. Very much so. So, yeah, we got games in 9 days, man. 9 days.
Time.
Yep. Cannot wait.
Yeah.
Got a fantasy draft in a couple of nights.
Yeah. Do you guys do that in person or is
No, it's always online.
That's the thing now. You guys get older. It's online. It's just throw it late at night. Everyone gets the kids down.
That's exactly what it's got to be.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what it's going to be.
That's the way it is. All the young guys, they'll get together in person.
Yeah, and then we've had this one hockey one that we've done online forever. Even when we were all in school, like almost 25 years ago, we would still do it online, which was so stupid. That one, every single year, it's the same thing. No one remembers our buddy who's been the commissioner for the last 10 years or whatever it is, because it used to be another guy, and he's like, I can't do this anymore. It's driving me crazy. He just got out of it. basically the night before the season starts, he sends a text saying, "Are we doing this? I forgot about this." And it's like, I guess, but we should probably do it in the next hour. And somehow everyone gets on the same group chat, and we just do it. And there's no preparation. There's none of it. And I'm anticipating the same thing will happen this year.
Yeah, that's exactly.
About October 5th, someone will reach out and say, "Are we doing that hockey pool again for the 25th year in a row?" Yeah, sure, I guess so.
And there's going to be at least one or two guys that lose interest or forget about it halfway through the season, and you're like, "There's no way that guy's paying attention to his roster this week."
Yeah,
there's just no way.
Yeah, exactly. All the time that happens.
Yeah,
because we implemented the head-to-head in hockey a few years ago, which I wasn't a big proponent of, but we did it. And there's way too many guys who it's just don't have a starting goalie for the week
because it's like their fifth tier pool that they're in. Like, couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
Got my big money pool I got to take care of.
Exactly.
Also, living life. I just have responsibilities.
That's a part of it, too. And if your team stinks, it's so demoralizing. If you're a month in and you realize you're like, I just picked a garbage team and they suck.
You have no chance.
And I have no chance.
Yeah.
And that reality hits you pretty quickly. That's what is so cool about NFL fantasy right now. It's uber positive. Everyone's jacked. Can't wait for it. Picking. You're 2 weeks away from realizing your team sucks and you got to wait until next year.
Do you care what grade you get?
No.
Whether it's like Yahoo.
I never get a good grade, and I've won sometime. Up and down. You win every once in a while. I find the grades are completely bogus.
Or else you would just put on auto draft and say, draft me the A+ team.
Exactly.
And you'd win every year.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It doesn't happen that way.
It does not happen that way. All right, Frankie. Good stuff, man. Good seeing you. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and, of course, up on YouTube Live. We appreciate that. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.
Ahead on the Park the Bus podcast.